There we go. We've got, what else? We've got Xbox raise the prices as well for their systems.
Yeah.
I think, what is it? Xbox Series S and Switch 2 are the cheapest. Like, I think they're tied for if you want to get into next gen gaming, this is the price kind of thing. Which is crazy when you think about it. I think in that case, I don't know if I would say in that case I would get a Switch 2, but the utility of a Switch 2 is nice, you know? Like the ability to have a dock and take that thing mobile. It's pretty nice. But I guess Xbox has Game Pass. So like no matter what, you sort of have multiple options there. But yeah, they raised them, man. Nintendo hasn't really raised theirs, have they? Yet?
Nope. In fact, it's gone down over time. Yeah.
What do we think on that? Do we think that's going to happen in the next couple months?
How it's now the best, like, I guess, value for money. In some, it depends on your equation of value, right? Some people factor in like, hey, my library of games is not there. I need to buy stuff at a higher price, etc. But yeah, man, the price is looking pretty good for it now.
What do you guys think? 6 months and they'll raise the price? You think they'll raise the price right away, especially now that we see Steam machines, Sony, Xbox have all raised their prices? And we'll get a higher price? Do you think their games will go up because it's memory on those cartridges?
I definitely don't see it being right away. I don't think Nintendo is that reactive.
That makes sense. Yeah. Sort of do their own thing, kind of. Yeah. I don't know, man. It feels like they're gonna, but just because everybody else has, and they've all stated pretty much the same thing. And it hasn't been small raises, you know, like pretty goddamn substantial raises in the pricing. It's just absolutely nuts to see how expensive it is. Yeah. Now you can't get into anything early. Basically rent to own, you know, go ask a mob to front you $3,000 for a PC video card and maybe a bare bones PC. A bare bones PC with a normal hard drive in it, so we can be like Silver when he was playing what was that, Anthem, with the guys when they were almost done with levels before you're level loaded. Yeah,
or trying it on a physical hard drive, or like old school HDD drive.
Yeah, the old spindle, the old Rust drive. But hope everybody's doing very well in the chat.
It went to 100% performance on that game.
Dude, that's crazy.
Close to melt it down from it, you know.
Things just popped so fast when it came to like moving that. It's like after people really saw SSDs, and then, whoa, what are you doing, buddy? Hang on 1 second. The dog is literally pulling up the entire carpet.
Yeah, no problem.
Or I'm going to kick you out of the room. Okay. Yeah, definitely a little bit of training is going to be required for the puppy. Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway, what have you guys been playing this week?
More of the same, really. Mostly going on with continuing with the Horizon Forbidden West playthrough I'm doing on my channel, and some multiplayer with Space Marine, Helldivers, Forza Horizon.
Yeah, like I was telling you with Space Marine when we were talking, man, their support for that game has been really good. I mean, I know there's been some issues here and there, but I'm really happy to see that game get a bunch of new stuff. And it's just a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, through and through. So
they just announced that they're going to do a, like the Siege Horde mode. They're going to offer a Chaos version of it where you play as Chaos Space Marines.
No shit?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
What would you be fighting? Still the Tyranid? Or...
I would imagine it would be Tyranid and Loyalist Marines.
That would be fun. That would be fun to flip that on its edge a little bit. I didn't even think about that. That's cool, man. What about you, Johnny? What have you been playing?
I've been replaying Final Fantasy VII Remake because they popped up on a big sale, and I picked up the remakes and the Final Fantasy 16 game with like all the DLC and stuff. So my thought was to do a bit of Final Fantasy stuff. So I've been replaying that. It's been great. Looks great on PC. The port is not very good because you have like 0 options, but it actually looks great. And luckily it just runs fine without any tweaks needed.
Are you saying pretty much 0 options for graphics?
Yeah, like no graphics options. I think even VSync is not an option. That type of stuff, just really the most basic stuff you would want isn't there at all. Like the options really remind me of console, where you have like maybe a preset you can change, that type
Right.
of thing, but that's about it.
Damn, that's insane.
Yeah, it's lean.
How long ago was that? How long ago did that come out? The remake?
That's a good question. That
is
was
it many years?
Have to double check for you.
No worries. While you're looking at that, I've been playing. We did a division in the group. Played some Hunt Showdown with some people in chat. That was a blast. Always stunned at how instantly you can tell how good the audio is in that game. It's just like the moment you start playing it, you're like, holy crap. I mean, it didn't matter where a bad guy was. We were instantly able to be like, boom, right there. Like, the bad guy's right there. Hush Out Ghoul, a while back you wondered what a game priced at 100 would look like. Hopefully it pans out for GTA, $5. Yeah, but that is $100 premium. We've seen multiple $100 premiums, so technically it's not $100. Our real question was, what would the basic cost? If you literally couldn't play it for 100, and that's not this. So, it still does. I think it. Let's talk about it. GTA. Opinion on the price? You got, what is it? $80 Gennaro.
Yeah.
Missing 4
the standard edition
customizable clothing shops and a custom shop, I believe, car customs. And then 100 for everything. It does feel like they just were like, how do we get the $100 price point to be somewhat the de facto, which we saw with Forza Horizon, where their expensive premium version was like one of the best sellers they've ever had. I think some of these companies are figuring out if they can do it. I don't like the idea. I don't know about you guys. I read the custom shops, the custom car shop, the little readout, and it certainly looked to me like, there should be more data, right? Like I don't think we need to say that. I think we all know it needs to be very clear, and it doesn't feel like it was. It feels like the custom car shop was saying, if you don't get this, you can't customize your car. But I don't believe that would be insanity, So my assumption is it's that particular custom shop has some pretty cool, crazy shit. Because the idea of customizing, the idea of like saying, oh, we're just going to remove customization completely from cars unless you pay for the premium would be.
It shouldn't be a choice,
Yeah, that would be anything that removes the mechanics, right? Like, I can handle the cosmetic stuff, and I'm like, whatever. As in whatever, I might buy it if it looks good. I might if not. But for that one put a little like pause in when I was reading it, trying to figure out what it was. What do you guys think about the 80 base price? Was that lower? Like, would you say, was that what you expected?
I think it was roughly what I expected, but I also wouldn't have been surprised at the $100 price point. Because, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't have been surprised not only because they could possibly get away with it, but also because, honestly, it's such a huge title. Yeah, we lost Johnny.
He'll come back. It's such a huge title, yeah.
But it's such a huge production, like in terms of costs and development costs for that game.
Yeah.
Also, that like just the sheer scope of it, that a $100 price point, frankly, was feasible to me in today's pricing environment.
Mm-hmm.
I could have seen it.
So that wouldn't necessarily have bothered me. Now, the gating of content in that way does sort of bother me. I think, honestly, I do think customization, like clothing and stuff, is a huge part of Grand Theft Auto, has been for a very long time. I think really since San Andreas was the first one that really, really pushed it. There was a little bit of it in Vice City, but not very much at all. But San Andreas really started pushing it, and then we got GTA 4, GTA 5, which also really pushed it, and of course Red Dead 2 pushed it a lot as well. So I think that aspect of tailoring your character and the look and feel of them and whatnot is important to people. Mm-hmm. And so I think setting that gate does bother me. where I would have preferred that they just set the $100 price point as the fundamental one and just included everything there. I think that would have been better for them optics wise as well, probably, is my feeling. But maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe a lot of people would have been upset at the $100 price point and outraged at that fundamentally as well. And so they've made that calculation that, oh, we want to offer this cheaper version, even though we then gate content outside of it. I just think it's unfortunate.
I would say, while I don't like this, I would have rather had an early access for 3 days for 100. And because it is a single player game, I know that people are going to worry about being spoiled, but having stuff just locked behind sort of, adding stuff is one thing where somebody can buy to get stuff later. That's different. But entire stores is pretty rare. We don't see a lot of games where an entire store of any kind is locked, let alone 4 or 5, let alone this custom shop, which is causing, at least to me, the most sort of confusion.
I don't remember any off the top of my head.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty egregious, actually. Yeah. I agree with Silver. So I was just reading, it's a salon where players can customize Jason's and Lucia's appearance. Yeah, I mean, even if it's just convenience, that maybe you can do those things elsewhere, but there's like this thing you don't have access to, I think, rubs me the wrong way.
I think maybe it's also because we haven't seen any footage that we can't even glean where, does that mean it's just over here at this one spot, which has some more haircuts and they're sort of a primo, hair restoration place or something, where it sort of makes sense, at least as a fiction. But having it just be like not knowing how the game is set up, where these things are. I mean, we don't even know how big we sort of know how big the city is by maps and stuff, but we don't know.
It's one of the things I found really strange is that I would have imagined that along with their pricing, we would have gotten some kind of trailer or something along with their pricing announcements and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so weird is that we just, we don't. I mean, they're not ever that in a rush to show, but this time, the time weird. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, they are usually pretty stingy on the trailers, Rockstar.
They are.
But,
they are.
But it's been a while since the last one. And, I mean, we did get a whole batch of screenshots a couple of days ago. Really stylized ones. But I don't think they really give an accurate representation of the gameplay either. We haven't really had a trailer give a real representation of how the game is actually going to play.
Yep, we haven't got one. We haven't got one.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped people from pre-ordering. I mean, supposedly the pre-orders,
the hype for that game generates itself.
Yeah, and there was an idea that was floated by, I think it was an analyst, I could be wrong, that was like, there's a chance that they'll do 40 million pre-orders before the game comes out. And then there was another rumor yesterday that they already had hit 39 million. And I was like, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't. But at the same time, I'm not pre-ordering it because I don't know enough about
we haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything. And so, you're not getting in line before somebody. So to me, the pre-order, they're not going to get my cash. It's not an investment. It's not a charity. They're not going to have the interest of my cash.
Especially if you're not going to a physical store to pick up a limited edition.
Yeah. I want to see more footage.
A limited physical copy or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean I'm not gonna. It just means that why would I spend $100 now when I can save 20 a month and almost have the 100 by the time that fucking thing comes out? I mean, or 25 maybe. Why not just hold back a little bit and just see what, how it's going to pan out? We do need to see a gameplay. We don't need to see the big gameplay. I don't need to have them be like those, how some companies do the big gameplay where they have a person walking through the game in slow motion and talking.
You don't have to show everything.
Yeah, I don't expect that.
Too much. Yeah.
I expect, as Silver said, the stylized, right? Where it's like, here's sort of the theme of this game.
Yeah.
This is sort of the feel of this game.
I think in general, I wonder what you guys think. The deluxe editions, I don't want them to alter gameplay in any way.
No.
I don't even like the ones that give you like some gear that's going to be really good, because then we've talked about it in the past where now you start your playthrough with this gear and it's it's better than most everything you find. So now you're just playing with this instead. And it maybe also makes the game easier or kind of changes how it feels and stuff. I want purely cosmetic rewards for a deluxe.
Yeah, mechanic stuff is always a little rough. If somebody wants to pay on top of it, like I'm not really bothered if somebody wants to buy maps for a game. You'll see that DLC of map, or not DLC, but you'll see the microtransaction of maps. I'm like, whatever, that person, they play a different game than I do, and they play different timelines than I do. So if that person, wants a particular thing, they can have it. But yeah, it is weird. While on topic, when will they release the online? So what do you guys think about the online? I'm still firmly of the belief that the online's a year out. I feel like they're making enough on 5, and they want to see like what the single player is worth, patch that up, and then they still have to figure out onboarding. They have to figure out a way to get people to play 6, and they have to figure out how to roll people into 6 so that they feel like they were rewarded in some way. Now, I should say they should do that. Not that they will. Now that I think about it, they may not do that at all. They may just be like, thanks for buying your stuff in 5, and now we're doing 5 and 6, so jump if you want to. You're not forced to, because they did say they're going to be doing both at the same time. But I would say a year.
Any carryover?
Do you think a founder or whatever they are might get like a million or something, like, or a percentage of what they spent in the game total on that account?
Yeah, maybe there'll be some kind of loyalty reward. Maybe they'll do that.
I think that would make sense. I don't like the idea of it, but
I agree that it would make sense. I'm just very skeptical about it. Yeah. I'm deeply apprehensive about the
if you put
the
yourself
online aspects of that game, especially given what I experienced with the online portions of and the monetization of GTA 5.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it? Yeah. What were you going to say, John?
Yeah, sorry guys, got a bit of delay on my end. So
no, it's all right.
Hope I'm not. I was going to say, put yourself in the shoes of a sweaty GTA 5 role player, and you've spent the equivalent of like,
grands,
a college education in that. And now GTA 6 comes out, and you might get a badge or something like thanks for playing, but you won't get a smidge of what you had in the other game. I don't think anybody would be moving. Anybody who was really bought into GTA 5, they might play 6 on the side, but that's probably still going to be. Yeah.
Almost, yeah. I mean, let's be honest, we expect it, but almost no media in the world is, I'm not driving my car, I buy a new car, and suddenly, they're like, well, here's a bunch of other stuff. Some car dealerships will have sort of that, like, thanks for staying in the family, but it's pretty rare. It's not like they magically give me something or change the roads for me. It's like
you get one of those hanging trees.
Yeah.
On the
and if I buy a bunch of their extras for my car, it doesn't mean that in the next car that I get, they're going to be like, oh, and we checked and you bought these extras, so we're going to give you those for free on the new car. It's not how it works. It doesn't work almost anywhere like that. But with games, as we move into this and we really get into we're really getting into digital now with no physical on this one, or no disc on this one. It's a thing for sure that people are probably discussing more and more. The physical disc did not surprise me. In all honesty, I expected the code. That doesn't surprise me at all, especially when you look at how to order Blu-rays. You have to order them by group. You get if you're a company, you have to order a certain number. Those costs have gone up because Blu-ray's not a thing anymore, not nearly a thing anymore. We could say that they're big enough they should do it, but I also wonder how many Blu-rays this game would be on. And
I just question why even do the physical edition then.
Yeah, well, I mean, for extra stuff, I guess. But maybe you're saying just a digital
the
extra stuff
would just
edition.
Be the game box then.
Yeah, you could just do a digital extra edition for $90 and call it good. I mean,
there isn't any extra stuff with the physical edition.
Correct.
Outside of the game box.
Well, you get the game box. That's what I'm saying. So you just do the digital edition at $90, so you're not paying for the plastic, and neither you nor they are paying for the plastic. And yeah, Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, it feels to me like that premium edition, it just has nothing to do with the physical disc or that case. It has to do with they sort of want that to be the de facto 100. And who knows when they
Yeah.
decided it, man. If
Oh, yeah.
they saw Forza and they saw what Forza was doing, and a couple games now we've seen have done spectacular, really expensive pre-orders for early access, and people bought them right away. Again, I'm just surprised they didn't do early access here. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I would have liked it, but I'm saying that would have made way more sense. They said 3 days, $100. That's only $20 more than the normal cost. That to, I think everybody I know would have been worth it. They, or even or less impactful than having these stores and all this weird shit cut out. Do you guys think this will be DLC in like a week, where they'll be like, if you bought the basic version, you can now buy this, and it'll be $10 more? It'll be $110. Because that's
I don't
what
think
I
it'll
think.
be like a week.
But do you think it'll happen pretty quick, where those things will be in a sale box of some kind digitally, and you can just yourself?
They kind of are, because you can just upgrade your standard edition to the ultimate edition.
Well, there you go.
You can kind of just buy it that way.
I just know how sometimes somebody will say, "Here's a package deal for $100," but later, if you want to upgrade, it's an extra $10.
Yeah.
Then and you're like, "Man, you guys are good."
God damn it.
Yeah. So $80 for getting in, though, ignoring the premium for a second, but $80 to get in is better than I expected. It could have been $100, and I'm glad it's not. I think $80, when I look at it, like for a game this big, that's sort of what I expected. I expected more. So to see the $80, I'm not necessarily happy with, but I'm glad that they stayed with this sort of the lower cost for this game. I saw somebody say this is going to change everything for games, and I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. GTA's is, dude. GTA is just an aberration. It's an aberration. Yeah, it's its own thing. It's a phantom that exists that we can see and all that, but you can't replicate it. It's like that's its own thing.
I mean, production-wise, the only thing that even really comes close is like
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen.
Yeah, and it's not out. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, we'll just have to see on it. I think technically, I am really interested in the number of people, and maybe I'm the only person who believes this. I was asked this, so I'll ask you guys. Can GTA 6 be terrible and suck? Yes. We're post-Cyberpunk. We're post a couple of giant games doing poorly. I have no clue why somebody would think, especially with Dan having left and all that.
Leslie as well,
that you could get a game that just doesn't have any of the magic and almost feels like the Saints Row remake, where it played, but it really didn't grab you. It just played. It didn't feel...
I wonder if Laszlo is part of it, actually, this time around.
I don't know. I don't know why people always say that. They're like, yeah, it's impossible. It's too big to fail. And it's like, that has been said of everything from a housing crisis to a tech bubble. Nothing's too big to fail. And we saw Cyberpunk come out of the gates, and they were showing stuff, not real stuff, but they were showing stuff, and that absolutely, just was a disaster. So I would love to see 6 months down the road, like what we're talking about. I think it'll be good, but I also do wonder if people's expectations are going to be so out of the loop. We need to see some footage so we can get those expectations to,
ground
that shit down. Yeah, dude, I had people in there saying, I don't care if the story's bad. I don't care if I can just run around shoot some bad guys, I'll be happy. And I'm like, dude, are we lowering our? Why would we inverse our expectations of the more expensive game? To me, it was such a weird discussion to sit in when they were like, yeah, if this super expensive game allows me to run around and shoot some people, I'll be happy. I don't care if the story's bad. And I was like, what? Why? I feel like that's a discussion you have on a $30 game or a $40 game where you're like, yeah, this might be cutting some corners or it might not have the most fleshed out whatever. But for an $80 game, that's odd to me, man. Yeah. And no online.
Not an $80 game with that budget.
Yeah. Can you imagine how disappointing that would be? Like that would really shock the industry in a doubly terrible way. But it would also open it up for competition Also, this is the first time. Go back and look at the release of GTA 5, 4, all the way back to 3, all the way back to Vice City, even the DLCs. There were many open world games that were competitors of some kind. They weren't massive competitors, but you did have your Saints Row, your Sleeping Dogs. You had your, I'm not going to say LA Noire because that's them and it's not really competition. So I'm leaving that one out. But you did have from other companies, you had your Agents of Mayhem. You had these other games that were trying, different things. There's nothing. Crimson Desert, but it's fantasy. But there is no open world competition at all. So if, let's say, it did do bad, you could see competition, sort of
It's also
blow up too.
I mean, I would imagine the Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be bigger in most ways than Grand Theft Auto 5. And it's probably going to feature more complicated systems. And the bigger the game is, and the more complicated systems you have, the more things can break.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, and there's a limit to what you can compensate for with money. And what actually requires time and resources, and you have limited time and resources. So at some point, that equation goes askew, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see that game potentially having issues like that, for sure.
Or the irony doesn't hit, because that's a big deal about the game is understanding social, the social idiosyncrasies of humans.
And also, and the fact that reality has sort of,
Yeah, dude, it's pretty tough. And it was tough. They were saying it was tough back then, and it's tougher now. I mean, there's ways to do it because you just tease that how crazy it is. Like, you can have the crazy guy be the irony that the crazy guy is nowhere near as crazy as what we see in real life. You could do that, and that could be a great way to do irony. I just don't know without Dan if they can. I'm not saying that the other writers are bad. I'm just saying I have no clue because we've never had that experience. Spanky Steve, $5 super chat. Everybody over here talking GTA 6 while I'm here waiting for the new Midnight Club. A new, not the new. Sorry, just before everybody's like, there's a new Midnight Club?
There's a new one.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I don't think people realize is when you have over 1 billion, you have many billions of gamers, the majority of gamers do not care about GTA. It sounds big because it is the biggest game in and of itself, but as gamers go, the majority of gamers, a vast majority of gamers are not interested in GTA 6, won't play it. There's just too many gamers now.
They'd rather play Candy Crush.
Dude, they're playing Roblox, or they're stuck in a situation where they're not going to pay for a PS5 Pro, an Xbox Series X, or they don't have a PC that can run it. I mean, and GeForce Now probably won't stream it, or Rockstar doesn't. They've got some issues with GeForce Now, so you can't even jump in, in like that kind of phase. Xbox stated at their price increase this week that they're doing they had 4 tiers of how they're handling the price increase, including rent to own, which we know about, no interest for blah, blah, blah. Sony's got at least that in Europe as well. They have a rent. And then they were going to make sure that reconditioned consoles were at a lower price, and they're going to talk to retailers, they said. So they understand where it is. They all want to be on the, they all want to be in on this because it is a system seller. For all systems will sell a little bit more, except for Switch 2.
Yeah. And a studio can always make a bad game. It doesn't matter how good their track record is.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because you can track the believability or the output of a single person or a small group of people. But when you're talking about such a big studio and so many years between projects too, the group changes a lot over time. And maybe some key people leave, like you're saying as well. That changes the whole dynamic. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong.
Can you imagine if you could replicate success every single time?
Dude,
I'd still be working for the first company I ever worked with.
I mean, I think one of the best examples for me is in I don't know how familiar you guys are with Formula One.
A little bit.
But one of the teams there is the Aston Martin racing team, which is owned by Lawrence Stroll, a billionaire. He has his son Lance as one of the drivers, and he's basically tried to build that team into a success by hiring all the best people,
except his son, presumably
Yeah,
nepotism there.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. There's some controversy over Lance and his talent level for sure. But yeah, all the best people outside of the team, like all the mechanics, all the like, he hired Adrian Newey, one of the most legendary car designers in Formula One, and it's just been terrible. They just haven't been able to make it work. They're one of the richest teams on the grid, and they just cannot make it work. They're trying to replicate the success. They're trying to buy it all, but they can't make it work. They're one of the last place teams on the grid these days, and yeah, it's just not working for them. Trying to buy the success,
and you see it in the NFL where the bad teams get first picks and all that stuff, and the Browns still haven't won a Super Bowl, and they've been bad for years. So that means they've been getting good players occasionally. We see it all the time. NBA, you'll get star players on teams, and the team never comes together. It's completely normal. I mean, it happens with every team sport I've ever been involved with. It's happened with every company I've ever been involved with. So, but I hope it's good, man. I'm crossing my fingers on it. Like, obviously, if it is, that's great because it's one more game that 10, 15 years down the road, we're still playing and having a good time. And we're still like, man, I can't believe how good this game looks even 10 years later, which is sort of like the shtick for a lot of their games, including, Red Dead. So it's not like they don't have a history of success. They have a longer history of success than most. But boy, do they have a long history just because it takes them forever to make a game now, too. Damn.
Yeah. And
like, damn. Dude, at some point.
Yeah, the turnaround is something for sure.
Is it a turnaround, or are they just circling the earth and coming back to the starting? Dude, it's that long, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's been 8 years.
Slightly around.
8 years.
Dude,
is Red Dead 2.
Okay, 8 years, yeah, which is better than I actually thought. I thought it was more like almost 10, but and then since the other GTA, which is 2013,
13 years.
Fucking dude, that's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah, well, we'll just have to see.
That's practically a human generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the roadmap, right? You release online in about a year, maybe, and then maybe a couple years from now, you do PC version.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 3 years from now, you go for the double dipper on the PS6 and like Xbox Helix and stuff version.
I mean, I think that's what we'll see, right? We'll see something to that effect, especially if PC can't keep up. If the prices, did you guys see Micron locked in manufacturer prices for the next 4 years? They gave them a good deal now, but they stated we're not dropping the price for at least 4 years, no matter what. Luckily, there's a couple other memory manufacturers not doing that, so maybe there'll be an offset there. But yeah, memory alone, video cards alone, going to be hard for people to get and jump into. Hey,
foreseeable feature, not necessarily looking better like anytime soon.
No, and I think for console guys, they're still putting RAM in their systems. It's still going to cost a bunch for them. Yeah. So unless these guys go with some kind of RAM or something that is no one's making, and they like AMD works a deal out where it's like a completely different type of RAM, memory, just so it can't work on AI and it can't work on the other devices. And therefore, it only is a console thing. But, there's nothing that I've ever seen indicates that at all. So, just nothing about it. Schemer says, why do you think every game podcast show has been only been negative about GTA 6? I don't watch podcasts, to be honest, so I don't know. I don't have any time.
So everyone, I would be surprised if every single one has been. It sounds a lot like hyperbole to me.
Yeah. They might be negative on the price.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're talking specifically about the price.
Yeah.
I think implicit in everything we said is we expect it to be a phenomenal game. It would be a surprise. Like we said, maybe it will be bad, but it would be a surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my case, it also just comes from my experience with playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and their sort of policies towards that game. And both in terms of like completely abandoning the single player in that game in favor of the online portions, and also, in terms of like Take-Two's monetization policies towards GTA Online as a strategy.
I was screaming
really-
into the void about that last night.
That really
'Cause-
rubbed me the wrong way in a lot of ways. Playing through it for years, like I played GTA Online for years, and it was often a fairly miserable experience because of a lot of those decisions, to be honest. And the technical aspects at the time of the enormous loading times that then tied into everything.
Yeah. I was just screaming that into the void last night when I was trying to explain to people. I'm like, dude, I mean, I don't know why you're surprised by the price or surprised by this or that, because these are the guys who said they were going to have single player content for GTA 5. You know, all this stuff. Companies change their plans. That's why I wish they wouldn't even announce their plans prior and just be like, this is our game, take it or leave it right now, and then we'll sort of go. But the world has become so wrapped in like the almost like the long-term process of like, here's a roadmap, here's this, here's that. And to me, a roadmap, I feel now after this many years of roadmaps, we've seen more roadmaps fail or fall apart or change utterly than we've actually seen companies hold perfectly to their roadmap. It feels like a roadmap to me is more like, this is our wish list for what we'll do. That's what I would put. I'd be all GTA 6 games coming out on this date. Here's our wish list if everything goes well. Like, here's what we hope to add, or here are the plans for things that we're doing. And just don't put a date on there. Be like, you're buying the game for right now. Not even online, by the way. Because you're buying the game day one for online. That's even weirder. If you're one of the people who's just going to play online, it's like, if you're not going to even turn it on, why give them the cash? That'd be very odd. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm sure somebody's done it. But, yeah. I'm excited for it, though, overall, as a game. I just don't get that caught up in stuff until I see it, and we just haven't seen anything. So, like, I just need to see it so I can go, that's the game. You know, point to something. Right now, I feel like we're just pointing to screenshots of stuff and the same bullshots we've seen from a lot of things. Luckily, they're pretty good with their screenshots, but a lot of their screenshots in this one have been more cosmetics-based.
That's what I mean by the stylized description, for sure.
Yeah.
They're not representative of the game, really.
Yeah, they definitely aren't, or at least, they're not of the game.
They don't feel that way for sure.
They're sort of representative of what might be in it, but not the game as a whole at all.
Yeah.
And then performance is going to be the big one. I mean, let's be honest. 360 version, you had GTA on the next-gen systems. You got GTA on the PC, which was definitely problematic when it first came out with performance for years. You had the loading stuff, which luckily got fixed by a random bug finder, a random programmer, which got fixed. My hope is performance is, you know, if it's 30, it's 30, right? It's locked. Wherever it's going to be 30, it's locked at 30. If it's going to be 60, it's locked at 60. And you know, sort of get that locked in to where a consumer, whatever they buy, isn't going to get any of the variable shit. I hate the variable stuff anyway. But it would be really nice to sort of see the performance to just look and go, you know, that's what the Series S is going to look like, the X, the PlayStation, and we can move on from here. Because the gameplay graphics are amazing, right? But I have played a bunch of their games, like day one LA Noire. I know it's not necessarily them, but it's in their bailiwick. That game didn't have the best graphics, and I still loved it. Because I liked the game. So, you know, maybe we'll just have to see how it performs, but maybe in the end it won't even matter so much if it looks like the best game in the world, as long as it can get solid. That's what I want, solid.
Yeah.
Ghost Switch,
Locked in.
1999 super chat. Thank you very much for the super chats. Happy Friday, boys. Great to see Silver and Funny both sporting the European gentleman vest.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that. I've no clue. This was a plan.
Well, one has to look a little bit presentable.
A little dapper.
I'm not quite as groomed as I would like to be, but
Who is? I mean,
me.
come on.
I'm
let's
not
be
quite.
honest.
Yeah.
Well, me neither, but I don't give a shit. If you're grooming up for a podcast, man, maybe you're like Chris Robinson or something. Rockstar games have always seemed to be CPU heavy. Yeah, that too. I mean, they've got a lot of AI and stuff, but they've also had 10 years or whatever, you know, we'll say the 8 since Red Dead to really nail down the CPU stuff. So that's my hope. We'll just have to see, man. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time to jump in. And no matter what, it's going to be talked about. You're going to have somebody saying, here's everything GTA gets wrong. And then the next day, the same channel say, here's everything GTA gets right. GTA is a disaster. GTA is a masterpiece, all from the same channels, because they know this is, and I know creators, by the way,
That's the
who
algorithm,
yeah, they have planned, they have like 15, 20 videos of just arbitrary trigger words planned. Like because you can easily gain 100,000 subscribers in just a couple videos, especially if you do some, big white lettering on a black background kind of thing. So we'll have to see. There'll always be somebody with the super serious face being like, this is the problem. And they'll be like, in the corner.
Talk.
Yeah, this game is dead.
They'll do the, look at me, I know what I'm talking about, jet black background like Lex Friedman or something. You see these kind of things all the time. I'm going to milk it dry. Yeah, they are. I'm going to milk it dry. I mean, I say that. I haven't milked anything dry. I could have milked Crimson Desert dry, and I didn't. I just was like, I'm sort of enjoying playing. Not good for the bottom line, but I probably better for my mental, what do you call it? My mental standpoint. Moving on from there, Steam Machine. So, couple bits. Steam Machine, they show it. 1,300, right? For the Steam Machine. And maybe there's a cheaper one with the 512 NVMe, which, by the way, with a Windows install, some game installs, I'm not going to want to run an OS on a 512 NVMe, especially because you can dramatically see their performance drop off when they're more than 40, 50% size, filled up on their actual device storage. Then I saw a thing today saying that Valve had hoped for a price of around $750, and I was like, that's still high. That's what surprised me when I read that this morning. I was like, wow, that's interesting, because now, of course, we all know the RAM thing, but I'm saying to buy something like that, even now with the RAM, even without the RAM situation, if that had been 700 and above, that's a lot. That's still a lot. And now it's even, of course, I think it's priced out of most people's range anyway. But
when we started talking, we talked about 600.
Yeah.
As a good price.
Yeah. And that's because we were comparing it to all the other devices that were already out and mature, whether it be your mini PCs or your handhelds that were pretty powerful at the time and weren't $1,900 that a handheld is now. Dude, I'm glad I could sell 2 of my handhelds and literally make more than I make on YouTube in a month. Like, doesn't even make sense.
It's getting crazy now.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So it's nuts to me. We'll just have to see how that does. I mean, I know a lot of people like the OS. I was surprised on multiple reviews for that. The people were jamming the OS pretty fucking hard. Did you see that? I was like, that was not what I expected, but multiple people were like, this OS is not necessarily ready for the living room. And I was like, that is not at all what I expected. So there was a lot of glitches, a lot of bugs, a lot of idiosyncrasies in the way it did stuff and performed.
I saw a lot of issues with the quick restart, quick resume, or like the waking up, where a game would be like half the frame rate, and you would need to basically fully restart it, or maybe even restart the machine itself.
And for all things being considered, Xbox has some issues with certain games in Quick Resume. Quick Resume seems to be awesome but troublesome, if that makes sense. It's people seem to really enjoy that, but they seem to have a problem with some games and their save state, whatever that save state may be. I don't use much Quick Resume. I did like it when it did pop up. I thought, oh, that's great. But I've heard a lot of people with online games in particular, which, by the way, I don't think I'd Quick Resume an online game, but whatever, because you're signing in and all that stuff. So I don't really know those. But I saw some single player games as well that were having some issues with that. And so yeah, I saw that. I saw some issues with keyboards popping up for no reason. Linus did some coverage of this. I think Steve did some coverage. Those were the two primes.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. And then it's always Steve. It's anybody named Steve. Thanks. If your name is Steve out there, I just want to thank you for having the name Steve. But also the people I've talked to who have been playing it, who were behind the scenes, who weren't the head of the video, weren't the face on the video, who were pretty unhappy with the OS. So like that's I don't know what their expectations were because I don't have a home theater OS in that way. I sort of treat it like a mini PC, and I click my things and I watch my shows. I don't usually use that front end like a lot of people do. But yeah, that was very interesting, man. There was a lot of negativity. Also, did you see Steve brought up that some of them are going to have single stick RAM? That is a problem. Wow. That is a problem. That is crazy to me. And he was very nice. He did an interview with the Valve guys, I think, where he was like, so some of these are going to have single stick RAM? And they were like, yeah, but we've done some testing and we think they'll be, somewhat, the performance will be somewhat the same, but it's like no testing has shown that it's, universally the same for sure. And always the dual does get better.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the motherboards are set up. Yeah. Yeah. Better. That was an interesting price point is what they said. It was just had to do with what they could get from the market. So
I also saw a lot of talk about the I forget what it's called, the way that the HDMI can like communicate with the TV, so it can like change the volume or turn on the TV, that type of stuff. And I saw a lot of people
good stuff or
hyping that part up, which I think it's maybe a bit overhyped. I don't feel personally like I would be changing the volume from a controller. I would just like change the volume on the TV or my sound bar, whatever.
Oh, they're saying,
or like turning on.
You can do that via the Steam controller.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Am I right that the Steam Deck doesn't come with a controller? Is that
the
correct?
Machine?
I thought somebody told me last night. I didn't look at that, but I thought somebody told me that last night.
It has different price points. The lower one does not include a controller, no.
So I have a Amazon device on the PC, and it does all of what you're saying. Turns it up, turns it down. So it's not. But I can honestly say, I've not been. I guess it's not that means nothing to me. But it's cool if somebody doesn't have it and wants it. But it hasn't been like something. That
I just thought it wasn't a big feature to talk up. That doesn't really change the value of the thing.
Yeah. So Steam machines expensive. Xbox expensive.
Did you guys see the copy that got made, or sort of
somebody
French
made
version
of the Steam Deck?
The Steam
machine. Sorry, did they?
Called the Stim machine.
Oh, dude, really? Yes. No, I didn't see that.
It's a French company, LDLC. Yeah, they put a Radeon a 9060 XT in it, and an AMD Ryzen 5 8400.
It's gonna be a much bigger box. Then we're gonna need a bigger box for that.
Yeah, one nice thing that they did show is that it runs cool. They seem to be very interested in keeping it to, I think, less than 70 Celsius, which nothing of mine runs less than 70. So that's nice to see. I mean, it does if it's sitting there, and I've got a clock curve on there to lower it down, but like that's not bad at all. It'd be a nice low power system, but I don't know who the market is other than Valve fans who want to support $1 billion company. Then that's fine.
Rich Valve fans.
I feel like for the rest of people, that one, just due to price and all that kind of stuff, becomes pretty difficult to swallow. I mean, we are what is it? A syzygy. There's your word for the day. But when you get multiple objects in a line that all make it very difficult to understand what you're seeing because there's impacts behind it. And that's what I think we're seeing right now is there are so many things that are aligned behind whatever big thing you want to put in front. If you want to put the industry losing money from investment, or you want to put the price of games going up, or you want to put the price of RAM going up, it doesn't remove the other thing. And I think this is the first time I can say there's like 6 things somebody could say is a major detriment right now. Yes. And so each one magnifies in a very weird way to where it's very hard. That's why some analysts, thank God, are stepping back from the guessing and it's not guessing. They have numbers, but you know what I mean. The ideas and the estimates, because they're like, this is very difficult because one switch in one place where maybe in the past you could sort of identify that might make a change in 2 months. It hits the friction of the other things behind it, and there's no change. And then another thing behind it might change, and you might not hear about it because it's not typically talked about in gaming. Like investment into games was never talked about. Dude, prior to AI, you never heard people talking about investment in games unless you listened to a GDC. People weren't like, oh, there's this third-party group that gives you money. Most people thought somebody went to Bank of America and like took out a loan, which you can do. But I'm saying most gamers, that's where they thought the money was coming from. It was always just Bank of America or somebody selling their house or putting a double mortgage. Those are all apt ways to get money. There was also billions of dollars wrapped around different investment funds that were putting money in, like the Saudi money that didn't go to Embracer. That would have been a huge bonus to gaming if they had jumped in at that. Yeah, man, it's a busy time. Did you guys also see EA did layoffs? Microsoft did layoffs. I like that Microsoft, and it sounds like Compulsion Games had their, I'm sure you guys heard there were some negotiations, which you rarely hear about. Usually it's like these guys are gone. Instead, Compulsion Games is lowering staff, but they're not completely going away. They're lowering staff, getting smaller, which I know that sounds like a weird positive, but in today's day and age, I'm happy somebody has a job. I'm just really excited that they didn't crater another company. And I think we'll start seeing more of those in the next couple weeks. And it will not be just them. EA laid off some people. 2 of the development groups I was working with as a consultant both left games completely. That was last week. One hadn't even announced their game and was like, yeah, it's a no-go. We can't, there's no feasible way to get what we want done in today's market at all. It is just, it's impossible to do it. And so they left. And that was after 6 months of work and prep. And 6 months ago, they were like, it'll be hard. And then last couple of days, they were like, no. What's up, Lucitan? So we got multiple layoffs, and then you got Bungie. So 2 things happened. I wanted to get your guys' read on this. Bungie announces it. Bungie says, we're looking into the future, whatever that may be for Bungie. And that means we have to reduce costs. We have to keep Marathon going. They did do the typical, we're going to support Marathon, which makes me a little nervous, but I don't want to speak to that because I don't know enough about Marathon and what they're making, what it costs.
Those have been famous last words.
Those have been famous last words. But they're keeping people, so my assumption is that is at least the plan to make some money is to figure out Marathon. However, then Sony did an announcement. Did you guys see the announcement from Sony? That was again not what I expected. That Sony came out and was like, we looked at Bungie. So I was like, did Bungie look at Bungie? Or did Sony look at Bungie? And then Sony stated they're even cutting internal Sony staff who deal with Bungie. That's, I'm not saying it's unheard of, but it's sort of not something you hear a big company talk about, is that they're reducing their own staff that were dealing with Bungie. I'm assuming support staff and tracking staff. But does that mean maybe Bungie figures out a way to buy themselves out of another contract and go independent again? I mean, I don't know, man. Things are getting wild. I really did think we'd see a Destiny 3 just because of how big Destiny 1 and 2 were. I really thought that somehow they'd figure out a way, and it wasn't the dating game. You guys heard about that? Did you guys hear that Bungie was trying to make a dating game for Destiny? Yeah. You guys remember Dream Daddy?
Yeah.
The game we used to joke about? They were literally used Dream Daddy as their idea. So basically,
what was it? Haddlefield something or other, the pigeon one?
The pigeon one, yeah. So their plan was to, so just like Ubisoft, many companies get together and they are allowed like a week or a month to say, here's a smaller project we want to do. And the dating one was in there. And the dating one, this is what's crazy to me. So many people wanted to work on the dating one that even when they were told that wouldn't go forward, they continued to work on it. Does that indicate they're really tired of working on Marathon and Destiny to the point to where they're like, fuck it, I'd rather just make a dating game like that.
Yeah.
Dude, we are in weird times. That was some weird news. I was reading it and then Destiny, just so everybody knows, Destiny devs were popping off on Twitter saying, yeah, this is what we wanted to do. It wasn't like this is a rumor. It was official that they wanted to, and it was official that these guys were like pushing it, saying we would love to, sort of do this thing. I love when companies let their people come together for a week or a month and sort of do their own thing, because I think that's a great way to also behind the scenes
game jam kind of thing.
Game jam, but also Silver, to really identify if those guys want to go off completely. Like you could sort of watch and go, none of these guys are talking about the current games we're working on. They're not talking about improving those. They all have these opposite ideas. And is that an indicator of where they are mentally? It's a good indicator of burnout. It's almost like when you do that dreaded company meeting, what do you call it? The team building. But team building, if you're ever at a company where people want to go to team building, it's pretty awesome. And I have been at a couple companies where people think the team building is a fucking riot. Like, they want to be there, and that's so great. I think
it's only as good as the culture at the company.
It's only as good as the culture. Yeah, right. So yeah, we'll have to see, man. It's very odd to see Sony do that kind of thing. I went back and tracked and looked, and it's been like twice in the entire sort of like industry where they've talked about where any company has really talked about their own internals being affected by the external. But I think it makes sense with Bungie because they're so big. So a year from now, where do you guys think Bungie is? A year from now. So 6/26/20. Oh, it's 6/26/26, baby. Right today.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Unfortunately, if we're gonna get pessimistic, they're shut down.
Damn.
That is rough.
That is rough. It's
but that
sort
is
of where I sit.
The most pessimistic prediction. But it also wouldn't surprise me given what the industry's trends have been the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What about you, Johnny? 1 year from now.
Yeah. It's so tough to say.
Monolith got shut down, sadly. So
yeah.
It doesn't look like they want to keep investing into Bungie, Sony. So I think with that, it's either going to be shut down or they're going to be kind of repurposed for other projects. So maybe like parts of the team will join other teams and that type of thing.
Yeah,
Would we ever see?
I think Bungie. I don't want this to be true, and I don't know anything about what's going on there other than a couple people who work there that I talked to, and they're not high enough to know like if they'll be out of business tomorrow. I will say the way trajectory looks and the industry, not just Bungie, Sony, the industry, that just looking at it doesn't look good. Feasibility wise, I could definitely see what Johnny says. Not that they like are bankrupt and gone, but that there isn't a Bungie in the way that we even think of Bungie. They're absorbed. Yeah. And by the way, in a way, that might be, well, it's for the best for the people because I want them to have a job. Sony needs a bunch of help because they have their service games they're still doing. They have single-player games we've heard nothing about, like Intergalactic and Wolverine. And I think Wolverine, while being a big game, isn't the typical like open-world third-person game you expect, that people like from Sony or expect from Sony. I think it'll be good. It looks like it'll be a blast, actually. But it may not have that. Here's a new thing. It may, and if it does, that'd be great. But they need help, so I mean. Yeah, it feels like that might also be the only way to get Bungie to do what they were supposed to do when Sony bought them, which was help them with the other games. And it seems like that's been quite difficult. Seems very contentious there. I don't know.
Can anyone make Destiny 3 if it's not Bungie, do you think?
I don't think it makes sense to do it because Destiny 2's left a pretty bad taste in people's mouths. They remember the nostalgia, but it's like a show that jumped the shark, replaced all the actors, but pretended they were the same names. Like MASH, when you get rid of somebody and you try to get that together again. I think, in all honesty, I would rather have Bungie do it because dude, there's a lot to like about Bungie. There's a lot to like. Bungie's made 2 of the biggest games, ever with Halo and that, and Myth, because I loved Myth, which was a RTS game from them. They also did they do Onai? Did Bungie do Onai? I feel like Bungie did. Bungie had at least.
Yeah, they did.
They did, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Funny
so
thing
maybe
about that game, that was actually the game I bought a PlayStation 2 for.
There you go.
one day.
There you go. Yeah. So, and I bought or upgraded my PC to play Myth. I loved Myth and Soul Blighter. I just really thought those games were a blast. So they make good games, or they did, whoever's still there who made those. I would love to see a Destiny 3. Maybe they cut them down to a super small thing to let them percolate to make Destiny 3 too. Meaning they cut down to your 150 or whatever, 200, and they move forward with the planning, and then they get more people as we come out of that, and they sort of have a better plan for Destiny 3. Because I love the shooting, man.
To answer Johnny's question, though, I think the industry has shown us that the answer is clearly yes. Could easily make Destiny 3 without Bungie.
You think so?
Well,
they're
could. Making Fable without Lionhead.
True.
So, but I think for it to be more feasible with, I don't know, with the general public and there would have to be like a grace period or something, like a decade later.
Or maybe
you go
core.
back to the well. You go back to the well.
Yeah. Or what if they did a core where they get some of the core people worked on Destiny 1 or something, they hire them back.
Yeah.
So,
that could happen as well.
Yeah, where you're like, okay, that we've cut this down to this small group of core people who are going to rebuild Destiny for Destiny 3.
Of course, the other question is whether the game will actually be good and whether it will actually feel like a Destiny game, even though it will be named Destiny 3 or whatever.
Yep.
But we've seen companies go back to these licenses over and over again with different studios and do that. So
I just feel like Destiny's gun feel is so unique to the developers who make.
Microsoft kept making Halo games after Bungie. So
yeah, they did, but they also took a lot of the Bungie staff. I don't feel like there's a lot of Bungie staff right now to take, but yeah, we'll have to see. I do believe that the highest chances that, man, I don't even like to say it out loud, but yeah, the highest chances that they're gone. Man, that would be weird to go from being bought by Sony for billions and this huge plan. I guess it also shows in some way service games. I mean, they can do well, but the failure rate is so atrocious and the ability to get them made is so difficult that it's certainly not the I would say the game changer instant cash that a lot of people running financials sort of think, right? I think a lot of financial people are like, dude, we'll do a service game. We'll do a gotcha Destiny. I mean,
gotcha dating.
Yes,
Destiny.
Gotcha dating Destiny. What do you got for news, Johnny? Anything other than, let's talk about some good stuff. You got anything good?
Honestly, I didn't see a lot popping up this week.
Game-wise?
Game-wise, there was a lot of layoffs. We talked about that, but
well, let's talk about some
positive,
good news real quick.
On the positive side.
Oh, okay.
On the positive side, I was just going to say Star Fox launched.
Okay.
And was pretty well received.
Very cool.
It's sitting at 98% critics recommend on OpenCritic.
That is very good.
And honestly, looked good. I don't have the nostalgia, so I don't know if I'll play it myself, but I thought it was cool. We don't have a lot coming out now, so it's also a good time to
play a game out there.
Some games in your list. But that one, popped up and looked pretty good.
So 2 things, and we'll get to the positive, but seeing a news story here created about 2 hours ago. I missed it. PlayStation is continuing the entire push of the live service games despite the challenges we've seen, and they are still talking about their PlayStation 6 handheld. So those plans haven't changed. But some good news. Kingdom Come Deliverance, 6 million copies sold. So that's really good. I'm going to be honest. I thought that sold way more than that for some. I don't know why. I just probably the talk about it. It was a great game. So for whatever reason, I thought that they had sold more, but that's very good for them. Also, from what I understand, the remake of Gothic sold well. Gothic sold really well as well. So that's really good for them because that game, I just didn't know like how a remake of such an old game would work out, but it looks good. I've watched people stream it in our streams almost daily. Looks good. It's enjoyable. It's one of those kind of hardcore games, and it seems like it's doing really well. Hopefully, it didn't cost them an arm and a leg, and they'll make their money back. Also, Bloober Team announced yesterday that Kronos has now made its money back, so they are in profit at this point, which is a positive for them. I like that game. Idiosyncrasies, but I thought that game, horror's hard to do. I think. There's actually it's certainly not easy to do. So that was cool.
The only thing harder, I think, is comedy.
Oh, dude, yeah, comedy.
For video games.
So comedy, horror, and I think true romantic stuff is like tough. By the way, Sotness says nice at Walker. Over. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that's what that was. Yeah. Its head's missing in the camera. But yeah, so some good sales for a couple games, and one there that I didn't expect to do as well as it did, which is awesome to see. But I also wanted to point out that in July, there's some cool stuff. We're getting, if you care, we're getting Black Flag resynced, but we're also getting the Altars DLC, which that, for me, is oddly enough higher in my excitement index than Halo, which is coming out on the 28th, and Black Flag. I cannot wait to play the Altars and see how that story goes, because they've shown that it's like at the end and some stuff happens, and I'm like, dude, I love the Altars. So I just cannot wait to see how that game goes, man. I would love to see them do another Altars too. I mean, how do you do that? I don't know, but another game in that vein would be awesome. Anything in July you guys are looking forward to, or what's your next looking forward to game?
I haven't really followed up with the release calendar at all. I'm a little preoccupied on the present time.
For games?
Things. Yeah. To really think about upcoming games at the moment.
There's a lot of games that I haven't got to either. There's a ton. I still haven't really got into Mutopia.
Like Star Fox, I had completely forgotten about, to be honest, but that is definitely a game that interests me.
Bro, I didn't even know it released until Johnny said it. It's. What about you, Johnny? Anything coming up?
I mean, for July, I want to try out Pal World. That's coming out on the full release version, so I'll probably try that out. And just looking down the list, I don't think there's anything else that I'm particularly interested in for July.
Not Halo, not Black Flag.
Wait, oh, my bad. Black Flag is in July. Yeah, I thought it was August. Yeah, no, I am interested in that. I will be playing that too. Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I only played a bit of the original, maybe 20 hours, and I kind of dropped off my interest. But given how loved it is, I feel like I missed something, or I didn't connect with it at the time and then dropped out, so it's kind of cool to give it another shot.
I feel like it might be a good time. Obviously, I'm with Silver. I have a lot of games I haven't played. I don't know if I will even play them, but Black Flag's probably a pretty good time. There's really nothing there that's like that kind of game. I think that's it'll also be very interesting to see how July handles too.
There's the major pirate game that got a lot of really hype earlier this year, Survival. I forget what it's called.
That's when you want to play, or they've got something coming out this month? July?
No, I am actually interested in it because it does look pretty good. I'm blanking out on the name, unfortunately.
So am I, but I know the exact game you're talking about because it sort of exploded there for a while.
Yeah. I think it released back in March or something.
Wind Rose?
I think that's it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got Windrose. Thank you, Lombardo. I think with there's probably 6 or 7 big games this year, probably 5 or 6 from last year. I don't have a tendency to go back. I just don't have time, but be nice to go back. Really bounced. I haven't bounced off of, but I was telling Silver, I haven't been able to dive into 007 like I was hoping it would make me want to dive into. So like when I'm not playing a game, it doesn't pop up in my brain, oh, I need to return to 007, which I would say Hitman always made me go, I mean, even now, like today, the idea of playing a Hitman might be good. And that sort of hasn't been happening, but there's that. There's a couple others.
Yeah, I talked about how it was the same for me, more or less. And I think a lot of that is owed to the fact that the Hitman lives in this borderlands between complete utter ridiculousness and then grounded sort of realism, where you can go into one like escalation challenge or whatever, and you can pick a fish as your weapon, and then you can dress up as Santa Claus or a clown or the flamingo outfit or whatever silly thing you want to do and just create utter silly chaos. Or you can go in with like a tactical outfit and realistic gear and whatever and take a more grounded approach if that's what you feel like. So it really does sort of fit whatever mood you're in. And First Light really doesn't. It doesn't have the same variety for its challenges, where I feel a desire to go back and replay the same escalation challenge after I've already completed it.
Right.
Even if it's to get a better score, I don't really feel that compulsion with that game in the same way. So I'm worried about the game's longevity in terms of its live service aspect, because that hasn't really gelled with me in the same way it did for Hitman.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. It's like, oh, it's a thing. You're being asked, or I guess anybody, have you played Stalker Gamma?
I have not.
I have not either. Yeah, see, and there's a Metro coming this year too, isn't there? Right?
Isn't it next year?
Is it next year for Metro? For some reason, I thought it was fall. I don't know. Could be fall, or it could be next year anyway, even if they announced it for fall. We're already starting to get companies moving around. So we're going to have a lot of companies, I think, adjusting. But real quick on Black Flag, what I was talking about was July. I'm interested to see how that game does when there's no other game like it really releasing at that time, and it's coming out in July. It'd be cool to see how a game in July sells with the current, like, just the way everything's going cash-wise, and then heat.
Yeah.
Like, are people going to stay inside, turn an AC on? And, is Black Flag going to have the highest percentage of,
it's the perfect summer game,
Could be.
You're out in the water.
In the Caribbean, fighting off horses. I mean, sharks. Horses would be scarier. Fucking got to watch out for those shark horses. Horses.
Seahorses.
Well, yeah, there you go. Seahorses. Seahorse is so cute. I actually think seahorse is one of the only thing that's underwater that I'm like, that's actually pretty cute. Everything else, I'm like, yeah, I fucking hate you. Jim Milton says, Windrose enshrouded.
Regular jellyfish adorable as well, in a way.
Not me.
I don't fuck with that. No.
I don't fuck with anything that, that's anything too close to Cthulhu, even though it doesn't have the multi-tentacles, is still
adjacent.
Yeah,
maybe
Cthulhu
it's because of Metroid. My childhood playing Metroid, yeah.
It might be, but I just, for me, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Something about it's a little too creepy. What else do we got for news? It was weird because it was a big news week, but not really big about games, like games.
Right.
What were we going to say?
There was a really big hit that popped up, this indie game called Mecha Chameleon, which sold over 7 million copies. Did you guys see this game?
I've never even heard of the game.
So, Mecha Chameleon on Steam, Chameleon. The whole thing is like a hide and seek game, and you are like painting yourself and posing and stuff to hide in an environment, and then like your friends have to find you.
Okay.
So it's the whole thing is like a big kind of Twitch game. It's become like super viral. and it's basically a hide and seek. You know, it's dead simple, but it's popped off like crazy.
It's one place to do well is your Twitch game. I don't think those will stop doing, that it sounds just like a Twitch game. It sounds like a game that maybe after half a year you won't hear anybody talk about again. But during that particular time, they're going to make some money. How did they make?
Some people are calling
million?
it friend slop, but
well,
the game seems
slop,
good.
Slop. That's common.
But it
slop.
is all about the friend group. Yeah.
What? And it sold. It wasn't early access for years, and sold 7 million total. It sold 7 million in like a couple days.
Crazy, right? Yeah. 2 weeks, 7 million in 2 weeks, and it's sitting very positive on Steam right now.
I'm just surprised because of the sheer number of sales that it's not on like my news glyphs, or that I'm not getting like a algorithm alert on it. But yeah, I haven't heard legitimately not a single thing has popped up in my news about that. That's crazy. Probably because maybe it caught on afterwards and with streamers, and most of my stuff for streamers is turned off. Like I don't really because I don't
that's
not
right.
that the game is bad, but that if it's a streamer style game, I know it's probably not got what I'm looking for in a game versus, but that's cool.
That's fair.
That's insane. Yeah. I mean, what's the cost of that for 7 million? Dude, they must have made their money back in like 0 days.
Dude, it costs $5.29.
£5.29. Okay. Not that explains 7 million, because we've seen multiple games cheap, but if it's a fun Twitch game and people see you playing it and having fun, and they look up and it's $5, that's
it's an easy sell.
It's not even I mean, I think a lot of people think $5 is their daily coffee cost. It's not even a day, actually, if you look at the cost of coffee. So it's like, it's not even really a thoughtful purchase. It's just like, I'll get it to play. Even if they know they're only playing for a couple hours, that's such a low amount. That's like paying to go to the movies.
Yeah. Just
a tenth
paid
of
for
that,
the weekend. Shoot the shit.
Yeah. Good for them. That's a good price.
Actually, have you had a chance to play Thick as Thieves?
No, not yet. Not yet. Have you done it?
No, that's another one that I completely missed with Warren Spector's multiplayer thief game that I need to get into. That's also like $5, I think.
It is, and what's so weird about it, Silver, is that I think it just broke my typical trajectory of announcement time, release time, here's what the game is time, because they changed the game like less than 2 months ago, where they're like, we've decided to only have, I think it was they got rid of one element of the game. They were like, we're going to do it this. We already knew it was going to be cheap. And it came so quick after the announcement that I think it just didn't trigger on like, I need to watch this. I have seen people talk about it. I don't know if I heard a lot of people saying they loved it though, or liked it even in our stream. I'm not saying that they didn't. I'm just saying I didn't see a lot of people going, oh my God, I'm playing this game and it's a blast. It reminds me a little bit of Control's shooter. What was that game by Control? Firebreak, where it's just sort of a thing, and then I find out it didn't do well. So I don't know if this one did well, or if the reviews are good or anything. Yeah, so I haven't got a chance. I do like Warren Spector though, but I wish I had the money, because I would just give him the money to make a immersive sim. You know what I mean? I just think that this is great. He's doing it. But
Levine are the two big ones for that.
Exactly. And, Ken's been, I don't want to overshoot it, but Ken's been lucky with, like, even though he's been lucky with the monetary side, he's been lucky that he can do the things he wants. It's pretty rare, and maybe it's getting more rare and we'll hear about it, but it's getting pretty rare somebody can do what they're doing with Judas and what he's done in prior games. And I want to see more of them, because that's my favorite genre, or one of my favorites for sure. So like, I would love to be able to give those guys some serious cash and just be like, come back in 5 years. Seems like those games take a long time though. How long's Judas been percolating?
Oh yeah.
For a long time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, several years since we saw it.
Yeah, he's got really good people around him and stuff like that. It seems like everybody's excited for it, but they're in maybe they're in a rush. I'm just saying they don't appear to be in a rush. It's just like you don't see him like out there doing a trailer every 2 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, KCD2 Kingdom Come got a new update that has basically like a new big quest and like other additions, but it's all around this new jester from Balatro.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did hear about this. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
so that's pretty cool. So it's this jester in the game, based on Balatro, and he's got quests and games and stuff. Pretty cool.
You must have loved Prey, Carrick. I did. Yeah, Prey was fun. Prey was way better than. Well, I don't know what the reviews are now, but I saw some people. If I remember right, there was also a big review debacle with a score or two. I think it was IGN. But yeah, I liked Prey a lot. I thought Prey was actually done very well.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some idiosyncrasies to it, but when those kind of games are hard to get right, all start to finish. In fact, I would say most of the immersive sim games I've played, there's always a part that I'm like, What are we going to say?
Do you think we'll ever get a second part to that?
No.
No.
Yeah. I mean, there's only, that's sort of what we were talking about. There's only really 2 creators known for it, right? And I'm not saying other people can't do it. There were a bunch of people who worked on Dishonored 1 and 2, and they're in the industry, even though companies have gone away. So that there's a chance people come together, but you would also have to go to the Bethesda, who owns the Prey IP. And yeah, they don't sell well, man. I mean, they don't, or they sell well, but they don't sell well compared to the amount of money they seem to cost. Like they just seem to have really high.
Yeah, because they require really complicated systems to make,
and a lot of QA.
Is really difficult and really resource intensive.
Yeah, can you imagine the QA on some of those too, where they're like, there's. Yeah. And back in the day, I mean, I know all of us talk about Deus Ex, which I loved, but most of those older ones, they had like 2 or 3 ways to do something, and then a 4th way that was like you were sort of tricking, you were doing something goofy. Later ones started to really go.
AI smell.
Yeah, and the later games did even more, where they were like, there's multiple ways. It's not just sort of high tech, high firepower, high stealth. That's sort of like the Trinity we saw in the original couple that came out. You sort of could tell there was a different way. It was like, I can hack this, or I can go in here and fight these guys, or I can do this. Now, with some of them, seems like there was a lot more going on, where there was a real flexibility, and that the amount of fucking QA for those games, just ridiculous. Complete crazy how much it costs for somebody to be like, okay, dudes, you need to try all this shit. Like, got to catch Norway versus France. Have a good one, Alan.
Enjoy the game.
What is that? Soccer?
Yeah.
World Cup. The World Cup is going on.
Is it? I always forget that that's going on. Airship Syndicate, or Airshop. That'd be a weird game. Airship Syndicate announced a new project, a sci-fi action game. I've heard a bunch about Airship Syndicate, and I haven't got a chance to play it. I think I was given like a beta code before it was even.
It's the one with the walking war platforms, right?
Yeah. There's 2 or 3 of them that have come out recently.
It looks a lot like Guns of Icarus to me.
Yes, it does. That's exact 100%.
Just on ground.
Because Guns of Icarus, we played with Takedown, Reg.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the game we all played? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that'd be cool to play. That'd be very cool to play. But haven't got a chance to jump in there. What else we got for news, Johnny? See anything else that's interesting? It really has been sort of a weirdly bland week. I was looking at it. It's just more like news. There wasn't. I mean, I did see this. Game businesses, a lot of the retailers are saying that there's not enough next-gen consoles to sell in stock for what they believe the GTA drive will be. And I got to admit, I had 2 thoughts to that. One, I believed them. But at the same time, I was also like, yeah, that's what you would say if you want people to buy your console at an elevated price. Right? Like, I know that's so cynical. Obviously, I am cynical on a lot of stuff, but it's funny. The moment I read it, I was like, That is what I would say. You know, that's like saying we're running out of digital codes, and you're like, really? So, Blade can't even get a movie made anymore. It's pretty sad how little Marvel seems to value that IP. Blade, yeah, Blade. Haven't heard much about Blade. A lot of the Avengers, the other game, the one I think it was Captain America and Black Panther, that game, Amy Hennig's game. Haven't heard much about that either. I think it got delayed. Maybe. I don't know. So much stuff changes. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, there's also just so much that gets announced before it should get announced.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially now, man. I wonder if that's changing. Like if now companies are looking at that like they used to do years. Then for a while they were trying to go shorter. But then we just talked about at least 3 games here that I didn't even know it got released, including Star Fox, which is not a small game. I didn't even ask for Star Fox, even though I would have been refused right away. I didn't even get a chance to ask for it. So like it's pretty easy for that stuff to come and go. You really do have to look at it in a very particular way and be like, how do we gather enough PR that will hit when 60,000 other things aren't hitting right now?
Now a whole new generation gets to be angry with Sleepy Toad.
Sleepy Toad?
Slippy. SLIP.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
It's one of the NPCs in one of your wingmen.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I wasn't putting the Star Fox.
He's probably the most unpopular, one of the most most hated NPCs of all time.
Oh, gotcha.
From what game?
From Star Fox. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I legit thought it was a Peppa the frog reference from
Peppa is the rabbit.
Yeah. No. I'm talking about the meme,
the frog,
the weird frog thing. So yeah. I was sitting here going, man, that's an entire meme I've missed, which wouldn't be hard. We make memes every single second of every single day. I did see some hilarious ones for GTA, which I thought were really good. Memes are just so short now, man. It's like even like the girlfriend, the girlfriend looking over her shoulder, like that kind of stuff, like all that shit's dead. It's like if you did it, people would be like, dude, you're a 50-year-old, quit posting that. There's a meme every 6 seconds. There's probably I shouldn't even say probably. I am sure that people have PCs that are constantly spitting out memes and posting them just to hope that they get, that it catches on.
Looking
and it's just
for the
AI.
next viral one.
Yep. I've already replayed Star Fox like 5 times.
Wow.
How many times did you have to save Slippy? That's the defining thing I remember one of the defining things is just how many times he spams your messages with help me, Fox. There's an enemy on my tail. Help me, Fox. There's an enemy on my tail.
So he's one of those NPCs.
Yeah.
Noticeably hated, easily hated NPCs. Let me look at some of the other news we've got. Let's try to find something that's interesting.
He's the one wingman who feels genuinely useless in the original games.
So this is another thing. This is from Bloomberg. So if you will remember, Johnny, I think about 4 weeks ago, one of the company, Tencent pulled their funding from a company. I was like, wow, it's pretty bad news if Tencent is, because they're the biggest, And it looks like yesterday a news story was put out, a rumor, we'll call it a rumor. Tencent is said to be mulling the exit from Japanese game studios.
Ooh.
That is crazy.
Tencent is what about Japanese game studios?
Mulling the idea of leaving them, of basically shuttering them or leaving. Because I can't remember what it was. They pulled away from a game. This is about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They pulled away from like 3 or 4 games. And I was telling Johnny, I was like, man, that's not a pattern you want to see. Because Tencent's sort of the company that just can throw money anywhere. And a game that costs $50 million because they're so big, it just doesn't register as a thing. But if they are, then it's like, that's a lot of billions of dollars being pulled from the game industry right now. I think the game industry, man, ignoring all the other stuff. Whoops, sorry, I made you guys disappear. Ignoring all the other stuff, I think the game industry's big issue right now is that there's also fear, and fear is causing actions, not even the reality of stuff. You know, some companies are like, yeah, we're just going to pull out till everything gets better. And it's like, well, if nobody's there, can't get better. If nobody's actually still there, you know, it's like, I'll show up at your party if a bunch of people show up. And if everybody says that, your party's going to be pretty shitty.
Everyone pulling their money from the bank at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. It's exactly
Yeah.
right. What'd you guys think of the Guild Wars 3 announcement? I was pretty impressed by that. Did you guys, I mean, were you guys Guild Wars guys? Okay, so Guild Wars 3, they did an announcement making a full game. They said it sort of got elements of 1 and 2, and then with where they want to go with 3. I was pretty excited for that one, because I know a lot of people who think Guild Wars is like their favorite MMO. Like their favorite.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people are very, especially Guild Wars 2, got a lot of very good.
Yeah.
Scuttlebutt talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to absolutely adore that. So I was actually excited to see that, because I guess I just didn't assume. I don't know if I didn't assume they were making money, or just didn't assume that would be that, you know, that was a thing for them. But yeah. So that's coming back. I think that'll be exciting to see. Especially, I mean, it's not an MMO in the way that, like, you know, WoW is an MMO, but still. Let's see. This is from Chibim. Anybody been playing the No Man's Sky Expedition? I can't get enough of the game on the PSVR 2. That's cool. Somebody's using the PSVR 2. It's crazy. You might be the only person using a PSVR 2 as we speak. But no, I'm just joking. I'm sure there's 2 or 3. Dude, I think it's, I mean, No Man's Sky is probably, I wonder if No Man's Sky is going to continue. I think it will, but continue after Light No Fire comes out. Like, it feels like that game, they've sort of got this really good way of just throwing whatever they want into it. I mean, now I don't even know. I wouldn't even know how to start No Man's Sky. Like, I don't even know how the expeditions. Right. I remember Josh was trying to, or Cadiz was trying to describe to me the expeditions one day. And there were so many that were interspersed, and then, you know, they're timed sometimes, and they come back sometimes, and then you got to do this weird thing. And I was like, dude, I don't even know how to get to that. I can't even remember, it's been so long, how to get to another planet and what I need to do, let alone all this crazy shit. That game is massive now.
Yeah, it's packed with stuff.
It is. Yeah, it's absolutely packed. I think with Light No Fire, I'm not as interested because it's fantasy and we have so many of those, but I want to see where their tech goes. The idea, remember, they were like, yeah, and you can get 12 of your friends together, and it can take many days to sail across the ocean. And I was like, dude, I can't get my friends together to play the most action-packed game in the world.
Yeah.
How are you expecting to get your friends to be like, this is fun, scurvy? You also have scurvy after the 27th day. I don't think that's the way. I'm
really, if you
sure
hate your
they'll
guns,
figure
it might be fun.
Yeah. I'm sure at some point though, there's ways to mitigate that, but still, the way they were trying to sell it is like, yeah, man, if you want, it can take multiple days to do this. And I was like, I don't want. I mean, maybe I do personally, but I don't with friends because I just know it will never happen. It will never.
After 10 minutes of sailing, your friends are dropping off.
Yeah, or you know, like where we'll get in the stream where you're like, this guy's
somebody's getting booted off the raft of the ship or whatever.
Yeah, this guy's gameplay isn't great, and you're like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, I started scrolling on my phone, and I'm like, Jesus. By the way, I've been playing active multiplayer games with people. Ran up to somebody, and they're not. You can tell they're not in their inventory because maybe there's like you see them switching weapons. There's nothing.
They're
like,
AFK.
Yeah, I'll be like, are you ready? And they're like, oh yeah, sorry, I was scrolling on my phone. Jesus. Luckily, I don't have that issue so far.
No.
Crazy they publicly said Light No Fire is the most ambitious game yet. I mean, that would make sense. It's going to be well, I don't know. They've got No Man's Sky is a different kind of thing where they can just throw stuff randomly. That's going to be one place everybody can see. So you're going to really have to make sure it looks good, make sure that you're, you know, how do you tell your friends where you are? How do you explore to get to them? All that kind of stuff. I could see it being their most ambitious for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's also not really crazy. It's par for the course for what you say for your next project.
Yeah, nobody's out there saying that this will be a way less ambitious title.
I guess the only times we do see that is when
We're not
companies
going to be
say,
quite so ambitious with our next album. That's not. Yeah.
yeah, that's
yeah.
true. You do sometimes hear a company say we're focusing on smaller titles or whatever, but which is sort of the But ambitious would be weird because then here's the funny thing: ambitious, even though everybody doesn't like crunch, they don't like ambition in a way. They don't like that kind of stuff. But when you don't mention it, then people think lazy instantly. It's 1 or 0. It's like, so if you were to say this is not as ambitious, people be like, great, they're not doing anything. It's like, no, that's not what we mean. But it's just, you're either ambitious and you're fighting, or you got the guy over here saying you shouldn't care about anything and you should just never shower. So it's just black and white.
Much like innovation, it's very much a buzzword.
Oh, dude, yeah. All these are. Well, like Johnny said, what was the company said something earlier, and he was saying that's exactly what you would say. And like what I said about retailers, that's exactly what a retailer would say, which, by the way, is super cynical and can be wrong.
I'm sure they're sincere about it.
I'm sure they are too. Yeah.
I'm sure Sean Murray is sincere about it, for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure that dude, let's hope the entire group has a whiteboard on that fridge, and it just says, don't mention sandworms, man. Don't, you know what I mean? Like just a checklist, and it says for Sean. It's written in a special colored ink pen just for Sean.
Just
no
like
one else.
In Molyneux's office.
In fact, don't speak at all, Sean.
In fact, Sean, you are not allowed to talk about the game. We're gonna get the guy who's really insular and doesn't like to talk about games. We're gonna have him go out because we know he'll just
Bush
be like,
guy on the video.
Yeah, we've got there's swords in the game, in this fantasy game. They're like, yeah, so what can you do with them? You can fight. That's who I want to hear from, actually, because Sean will be, you can hit things. Sean will be like, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm not saying I forgive the lies, but they've done a pretty good redemption arc, I guess.
Yeah.
A redemption arc forced on them, but nonetheless. And a lot of the stuff that was in that game day one, if you had not done the sandworm, if you had not said some of that stuff, it wouldn't have been half as bad. It's like it's just that really bad it was diminishing returns on expectations. It was all self-inflicted. No, it was. It was all self-inflicted, man. It was like it was crazy to see it. You were like, "Oh, dude, come on." Sean will be like, "You can surf on a sword." Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. We got some questions here. Do we have any questions in Discord?
Yes, sir. We got this one from Contenker Art. Hi, all. 2 of my most anticipated games that have release dates for this year are Star Wars Zero Company. Actually, I forgot about that one. We were talking about games.
Can't wait.
Very good. And Insomniac's Wolverine. Do you plan to cover them in reviews, Carrick? Anyone got thoughts on these 2 titles? Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your week. P.S. What's your favorite nachos topping? And what's your favorite cocktail or beverage? As I think Carrick doesn't drink alcohol.
Yeah, I don't drink
Monster
at all.
Doesn't count, and mine is
Fair.
old-fashioned. Okay.
If Monster, which isn't my favorite, if it would remove pops, I would say milk. Like, I like milk. I don't drink it ever, but like I know I like it. It's my favorite thing. Like, it was my favorite thing for years. It's so calorie dense that like might as well.
Yeah.
And fat dense. I'm not drinking skim milk. I grew up on that and didn't love it. So like I would be drinking something fatty. Star
Mountain Dew,
Wars,
maybe? Is that
no? That's
your
what I
pop
said. No
drink?
pops. No pops.
No
I'll
pops?
remove pops and Monster and say milk. I would say Star Wars is definitely up there for me as well. I think Zero Company looks genuinely very good. So I think he's right on that one. What was the other game he said?
Wolverine.
Yeah. Will I cover them? Listen. If I'm superstitious about anything now, I swear to God somebody listens to the podcast. And if I say I want to cover it, they don't give me a code.
Cover a game.
I've stopped. I'm sure I've lost patrons from this, and I don't mean to, but like I've legitimately stopped saying these are the next 3 or these are the next 4 games because I don't get codes at weird times, and then I get all the codes in games that I never expected to get codes. Do I plan on it? Yeah, I plan on it. I would love to cover both of those. There's a ton of games I would love to cover, and I've asked for both, I think, already. I just said fuck it and asked early. I definitely asked early for Wolverine because I know somebody there. And then what was the other one? Star Wars? I did ask for Star Wars. Yeah, so I've already put out feelers on both those and got responses. That means nothing. So that's the end of me saying I plan on doing it. I would love to. I would kill to. I think those would be... I don't see either one of those being bad. Wolverine, I'm interested in because it's not Spider-Man. As in, I'm not more interested. It's just the idea that it's more linear and just sort of this action game, which I think fits Wolverine a great deal. That'll be like, could be great. And I love the gore. I thought that looked fun.
Yeah.
What was the other question?
Yeah, Star Wars Zero Company.
Was that the only question? She was just asking when I was going to read it. But he asked you guys your favorite drinks. What are your favorite drinks and nacho toppings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. What do you guys got?
Favorite, I don't really eat a lot of nachos, but favorite topping would be a cheese like Parmigiano Reggiano.
Yeah.
For sure.
That can't go wrong with cheese.
And favorite cocktail would... I too enjoy an old fashioned, but it really depends on the circumstances. Like, I don't have a universal favorite cocktail. In the summer heat, like today, it's hard to go wrong with a pina colada. I think. So yeah, it depends very much on the circumstances. If it's like a nice quiet evening, old fashioned, yeah, can be really good. But I don't really tend to drink a lot of alcohol either, in general. As for beverages, I really enjoy these. These are a sort of lemon ginger soda.
Nice.
It's really, really nice. Not too sweet at all.
Ginger and
really,
lemon?
really refreshing. Yeah.
I hate ginger. I was so with you with the lemon. I saw the can. I was like, hell yeah, that looks like a squirt.
Hold on, there's
here.
ginger.
Yeah, there's ginger.
Hold on.
What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, the ginger just gives it a little spark at the end.
Yeah.
As a note.
Yeah. I also don't like to drink alcohol a lot. There are some drinks like some pop drink, like you say, some soda drinks. I do like always diet soda stuff like Fanta or different stuff like that. But I will say I also like ciders, and sometimes I'll just have them like the alcohol-free version,
sure,
just to like enjoy a drink, And yeah, there's some amazing tasting ciders with different fruits and stuff like that, and they're definitely the perfect like balance of fruity with yeah, I don't know, it works really well. Really enjoy it.
What about your nachos?
Yeah, it's got to be cheese. I don't ever eat nachos like that. I might eat Doritos some random day, but I don't do toppings. Not really. Kind of boring there.
I was going to say, I'm sure I'm going to be asked either here on Spotify why I didn't say eggnog. I would say eggnog if it was year long, but in Oregon, or at least most of the states, you can't get it year long unless you go to particular stores. So, because eggnog would for sure be it. But yeah. Nachos, I do eat, not a lot, but I mean, so we're not talking about like the meat. We're talking about, I feel like nachos without cheese isn't nachos. I know that sounds weird because I'm sure it is. So I'm not going to say cheese either, even though if I had nachos without cheese, I'd be like, what? Like, it's chips with some meat, which is also fine because I love chips. I love crunchy with beef. I think there's something about that I like. Like, we have a place here that does fried quesadilla burgers. So the outside is like a fry, and that I love because I like the crunch.
Yeah.
But, for a topping, probably green peppers and onions. And I say that again together because I would never have them not together.
Okay, that makes sense. That is like the Mexican.
Yeah, I just like
Mexican
green peppers and green peppers and onions with a steak as well. Like if you just cook them up with steak and slice. There's just something about a little bit of vegetable with steak that I've always liked. Again, because I like the snick of I'm big into texture of stuff, so that's why I don't like a lot of foods because of the textures. I can't get through it. But like a green pepper having a little bit of a snick, like to get your teeth through, or an onion. Like I don't like slimy onions. I know some people who like, those like burgers with just the wormy onions hanging off of it. And I'm like, no.
The greasy ones, yeah.
Yeah. No. I want some crisp. What
like
is the
fried onions almost? Or...
Yeah. What is your favorite Walking the Walk character? The one you had the most fun with? Dude, for some reason, maybe Watch Dogs 1, because that was one of the first Watch Dogs, because Ubisoft's really good with having their characters do crazy stuff, and Watch Dogs may have been not the biggest title in the world. Yeah, it's probably Watch Dogs might have been one of the biggest titles in the world, but there was a lot of weird stuff that they were doing, like recording conversations and using, like they did all kinds of stuff. They did really cool looping animations for there was a soccer kid where I started where he never returned. You know how a lot of times you get that animation reset where the character doing a random thing pops right back to state 0 and starts over?
Yeah.
This didn't do that. The kid was playing soccer and he fuzzy moved back. And I remember being like, dude, I don't think anybody's going to notice that. But this is fucking awesome.
That's cool.
And then I did, I think I've done both Dying Lights. I really enjoyed those. But weirdly enough, now, after all this time, I think I enjoyed Valhalla. It was 6 hours.
I was going to bring that up.
Split into 3 parts.
Because
not a lot of people watched it,
that.
but I really got into that. And there was so much that they had done right. And as somebody who doesn't love the game, I always get people saying, oh my God, I can't believe you did a Walking the Walk on a game you didn't like. It's like, dude, you have no clue. That's not what they're about. They're not. How did they try to sell the world? Even if the game is, I could do one on Saints Row, the new one, that is pretty bland, and just be like, hey, they actually did there's this cool thing that happens if you watch it. Crimson Desert would be fun to do, but weirdly enough, with Crimson Desert and the way people cover games now, by the time I get done with a review, there's a very high chance that there'll be 1,000 videos of like, this is a special thing, and I have to study to do those, and sometimes those are wrong, and so I've been a little nervous of being like, this is what happens, without talking to a dev, and sometimes the devs don't respond, so there's some issues there. But Crimson Desert would be fun. Origin's fun. All the Assassin's Creed ones are a blast, man. Walking the Walks are my favorite thing to do. No one watches them. Everybody says we want to watch them, and I will be in chat, and I will say, I did a Walking the Walk on that. And they'll say, did you? And I'll be like, dude, you were the one who asked for it. Like, you're
Am I a joke to you?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? The same thing happened with Homefront: The Revolution. That one did really well because I think a lot of people didn't know about the game. And there's a lot of stuff in that game that was fun to just walk around and be like, oh, this happens. And I like the way they've sort of made a world feel like it's been taken over, but it's still got some people doing their people stuff. And then the other one was really fun. Ghost was fun. The original Ghost was really good. Trying to think of some of the other ones. Yeah, probably Valhalla, though, just for sheer time. I dived into that fucker. That was crazy. So much went on in Valhalla.
Yeah, I felt like you studied for weeks.
Yeah, and no one cares because it's not the most loved. It's the most sold, but it's not the most loved. But it's like the amount of stuff that they covered and little things about the Vikings I found out doing all the study for it, because that was 80 hours of study just for the class, let alone just like looking into Ubisoft. Dude, Ubisoft, I don't care how much hate they get. They do try new stuff in like their tech and how they do it. Yeah. And I just fucking adore how they, dude. Not Far Cry. What was the game? It might have been Watch Dogs Legion. I think it was Legion because I did a mini one on that. They did some stuff with like people doing graffiti and shit, and I was just like, dude, that's exactly what, if it was not them, people would be celebrating. But because there's such a hate on for them for all the various reasons, people just can't see past it. So I'll do more. It'll take a while, but I'll do more. Ghost Recon Wildlands. Nah, there's not much in Wildlands. I will say this. I think Silver and I agree. I can't remember because I know he likes Breakpoint, but I feel like Wildlands might be their best map. I feel like it's their most enjoyable map.
I think that's something we've talked about frequently.
Yeah.
Much better than Breakpoint's map.
There's
unquestionable.
I don't even know how to describe. I'm getting actually a little bit of a tingle because when I get in a Suburban in that game and drive around and you're trying to take out like guys in front of you, it's just like, dude, this feels like a fucking real place somewhere. Like,
Yes,
love it.
The world feels actually alive.
It does, man. It does.
There
And it
are,
doesn't
like,
even have.
there are actual animals, and there are
Yep.
people walking around. There are villages and whatnot. In Breakpoint, for the most part, there's nothing except for like the scattered little patrols you run into.
Right. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
you're gonna encounter.
And I mean, I did do a Mad Max one. That was also very fun. Mad Max, almost every person I know of who loves Mad Max or appreciates Mad Max to a high level. And it's so interesting to see all the issues sort of burned him on this game. And yet, when I play Mad Max, I'm like, dude, Mad Max has a lot of environmental storytelling. Mad Max, the storytelling in Mad Max, environmental storytelling is so cool that there are parts of like the game world that have been attached to cars. So when you're driving around, you'll see a toilet bowl seat that's identical from somewhere. It's not that. It's not a toilet bowl seat, but you'll see items from the game world that have been strapped. They don't feel like this is a separate car. It feels like this is truly something that you see in the world that somebody's looked at it and said, hey, that would be good on my, on my ride right now. God damn, that was so fun. God damn, Mad Max is a good game. Dude, and so many people don't know there's a first-person view in the car in Mad Max, so we'll be in stream.
I never knew until you said,
I'll be like, dude, go to first-person mode, and they're like, what? And I'll be like, yeah, and then they're like, I can't see shit. And I'm like, yeah, you can't, especially with one of the cars with a blower on it. Like you've got this little section. I think it was Kramer. When I told him, he was like, this is the craziest thing ever. And then like 15 minutes later, he's like, okay, fuck that. It's impossible to see. And I'm like, it is, but it's atmospheric as shit. Yeah, those were good ones.
To be somewhat fair to Miller, I think his comments were that the game wasn't as good as he hoped it would be.
Yeah.
And I think the connotation to remember there, I think, is probably that I think that refers to the game's public reception. I doubt very much that George Miller ever actually played the game.
I don't think he did play the game.
And that is like his actual opinion of the game itself. I think it's reflective of the, let's say, ambivalent public reception and reviews that the game got, like the 6s and 7s that the game got.
It could be, but when I was doing the research on it, there's an interview with the Avalanche guys where they talk about, there's a big, somebody else online before I did my Walking the Walk wrote a huge article on the making of it. And he just wasn't happy with many things in the making of it either. It just, yeah. It almost didn't get made. I mean, it really did almost get, but I believe exactly what you're saying too, because even if he didn't like it, you still want it to do well, probably, and so both have. Do you guys remember when that came out? That came out against Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, did it not?
I believe so.
Yeah, and I think it was Total Biscuit that I was talking to, where we were like, yeah, this game, it can't. It sounds so dumb, but 2 games in the desert is one too many. There's something about that you're just like, it's not going to work, and you're such a big deal that
I think Mad Max released like a week prior to.
I think so too.
To Phantom Pain.
That game was so fun. Mick Kettrick says, I enjoyed Breakpoint after the fixes. The world doesn't feel nearly as alive compared to others. Devs, I believe, responded like, oh, the island was under martial law. Yeah, I believe that is exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly
they explained it.
Had reasons for it. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's fun to play.
Yeah, right. Yeah, or at least that part of it is fun to experience. Yeah,
fair enough.
But the world is fun to experience. That doesn't necessarily make the world more fun. Yeah,
it's like Saints Row, dude.
To move through.
There weren't a ton of there were bugs, for sure, but there was a lot of things that worked right, but it wasn't fun. It just, there wasn't anything that like it felt dead in the same way that Breakpoint did, in a way where you're just like, damn, there's so many things that could be happening. So,
and with Breakpoint, it's not even that it feels dead, because it would be one thing if the world was empty, then I might just like take in like the woods or whatever. Because there were large portions of Wildlands that are actually empty, where you're just moving through the jungle or whatever.
Yeah.
But Breakpoint doesn't let you do that. Breakpoint insists, no, I have to spawn like 2 guys standing by a motorbike right here. Every like 50 yards, you travel. And then you have the constant aerial patrols and everything else that the game keeps spawning in. Spawn. That's all the game world does all the time. and it gets really, really tedious to play through that.
And it's that if there's anything I will always ding them on, it is the overspawn, because Far Cry 5, I know you and I sort of disagree on like the I don't necessarily love the religious aspect, but I do like the world and the location and the enemies. I can at least see him a little bit more than most of the bad guys in a Far Cry, because most of the time the bad guy shows up, makes a phone call, and disappears for the rest of the game. But the spawns are so crazy. And then I went online and looked at mods, Silver. I was like, oh, I'm just going to get a mod to reduce spawns. The mods were adding spawns to Far Cry 5. And I'm like, what the fuck? They were crashing. Airplanes would just fucking spawn and crash into each other. Like, what are we doing right now? So, or you get attacked by every animal in the world. And you're like, a little toned down would let you be surprised by that thing instead of just be like, that thing is the blanket that I'm experiencing. Do we have any other questions in Discord, Johnny?
Yes.
What else
we
got?
have this one from Ralphinator. You guys may not be big into soccer or football. With the World Cup going on, have you caught yourself watching games or rooting for your own country or other countries? Read into the fans' interactions here in America, or even just avoiding it entirely? Curious on your opinion.
Well, you guys are both not even in America. I mean, you guys, it's a big sport where you guys are, right?
Correct.
It's
a big
huge.
Sport in that country.
Yeah. I lived in Spain many years, and football is massive in Spain.
Yeah,
it's also massive here in the UK. Back when I lived in Spain,
your native country of Brazil as well.
In Brazil too. Yeah, that's true.
For sure.
So I kind of have like 3 different countries that I look out for. But no, I don't watch games myself. I will watch highlights and stuff every now and then. And I try to keep an eye on like how they're doing and stuff. But it's been many years since I've really watched a game.
And for me, I didn't even know it was happening. I'll see people pop up, and then I'll forget that it was happening, and then pop up. But I not only don't I see it, I don't even hear about it in news or any. It just doesn't even, probably because the algorithm, it never even pops up. But I will say that on YouTube Shorts, if they say watch this crazy goal, I'll watch it, because athleticism of a ballet dancer is impressive to me. It doesn't matter what lacrosse. It doesn't matter what sport. It's dude. It doesn't matter. Like, I will get tingles if I see a ballet dancer or a like, let's say a more modern dancer do something cool and be like, fuck, that's, because I've always, whether it be martial arts, boxing, whatever, I love that. Sports, soccer, anything. It doesn't matter what sport. I've seen videos of guys, that big thing where they run and they put the pole in the water and try to get to the other side. I don't even know if this, and dude, I've watched YouTube Shorts of that for like an hour. I've been like, damn, son, I saw somebody like loggers chopping trees at speed, at the county fair kind of thing. Fucking watch an hour of that without any hesitation whatsoever. But I don't want to log.
No, of course.
I have no interest in soccer as a game at all, but I absolutely have interest in what somebody can do with a ball, where you're like, how the fuck?
I saw this awesome short of like Japan playing their game. They scored a goal, and the guy was so excited. So they played, like in the short, they played this anime music, and the guy's like going crazy. It's like truly anime the way they do it, and with the music and everything. It was epic.
Yeah, love that stuff.
I played football a lot as a kid. I followed it a lot as a kid. I even became a football referee for like amateur youth leagues for a number of years. But I haven't followed professional football in decades now. I think we're up to 2 decades after I really stopped following it, because of all the corruption and stuff involving FIFA and all kinds of political stuff involving the corruption and the sports associations and the players' behavior and whatnot. I just became disillusioned with it, and I haven't really gone back to high-level professional football since, including the World Cup. I haven't watched World Cup games in a very, very long time, even when Denmark has qualified for it.
So out of soccer for a second, or football, I want to talk about one. This is going to be a hot take, because I'm assuming people know why it's acceptable, and they think it's cool. So you were talking about players. I am a freak for sportsmanship. If you have bad sportsmanship, I'll fucking hate you. I don't care how good you are. Like, okay, so So, like, I remember watching one of the Williams sisters just throw a fit because somebody got up to take a piss while they were serving. And I was like, bitch, you need to be able to fucking hit a ball if there's a landmine going off. You're a fucking sports star. That kind of stuff make me a little mad. I'll be like, come on, quit bitching. Whatever. Just hit the, or somebody's like, they grunt too loud. I get it. That kind of stuff may bother me a little bit. But there's one sport that listen, people are going to think I'm un-American, but I can't believe this happens. And I would kill somebody. I've never been so mad when I see it happen. Hitting players on purpose with a baseball. I'm telling you right now, I want to be
baseball in general.
I want to
Also
be good at
cleats on your
baseball.
boots.
I want to be good at baseball so I can beat the pitcher to death with a fucking bat that I break, and I'm going to stab it in his neck on national TV so they stop it. The stuff, I saw somebody talking yesterday on a YouTube short was like, yeah, I'd slit his neck if he tried with me. And I was like, slit his neck? Oh, so he also... Well, then I found out, no, it just means pitching at their, trying to hit their throat or get as close as you can. And I'm like, dude, fuck you. If I was in a normal experience in life and somebody threw a baseball bat or a baseball at me at anywhere near those speeds, it would not only be assault, I would be under the assumption that person was trying to kill me, and I would do everything I could to kill that person. Because I'd be like, they have an ability that's far beyond me. I can't do that. They can get me at range. I have no clue what's happening. I will fucking try to kill that person, because to me, that is assault. That is well beyond. And people got mad at me for saying some of the stuff that's happened in school or some of the stuff that's happened after school with me. And I'm like, listen, I've never tried to do that. That is actively trying to cause damage. And we've seen damage be caused by it. And it is very interesting that a sport built that in and has left it in with pitchers getting faster and faster. To me, that's crazy.
I mean, which also incidentally destroys the pitchers now. How fast they have to throw.
Yeah, they're breaking elbows.
They blow out their shoulders.
All the time. Yeah, dude. I'm just like, what are we doing? What, like, if you are so unable, if you have such low skill that you're already out there doing nothing for half of the time, you fucking pick your nose, you celebrate with the fans half the time, you're already not doing much other than the pitcher. If you can't control the way you sort of handle this kind of stuff, and you have to hit the other player, like, it's one of the reasons why I just really don't consider
stories
it a sport.
about old-timey baseball and how like players would like put the cleats on their shoes and they would aim when they went in for a plate to, you know, hit the catcher or the player who was holding the base, so that they could hit him on the leg with the cleats and whatnot and do maximum damage.
Oh, the other thing I do want to point out, I think a small toddler could beat every single pro baseball player. I don't think I've ever seen worse fighters in my life either. Like, like sometimes you'll see, have you guys ever seen a basketball fight where they're both closing their eyes like newborns? And they're like, yeah, basketball players, terrible aim, absolutely terrible fighters. Baseball,
no, but I have seen quite a few hockey fights, yeah.
And see, hockey, at least they're grabbing on and they're working the short ribs or the head. Baseball, they are some of the worst. For people who supposedly have good control or good aim, I mean, dude, these are like children. I'm like, there are like 9-year-olds in a basic martial arts class that would beat the fuck out of these guys. Like, I have never seen the biggest, they're such pussies. And they'll go out there. You're like, dude, what are you doing? First thing I'd do, I'd run there and I would try to cleat somebody as hard as possible. Because half the time the pitcher stands there, the guy throws, dude, the other one I loved is a guy tries to throw his helmet. He can't even throw the helmet correctly. He tries to throw the helmet goes way over there, but he was trying to aim for him. I'm like, dude, you legitimately should quit being a human. Because goddamn, son, that's embarrassing. That was in front of like millions of people. And then he goes out there and he's like, and then what I do love though is when the other guy comes in and you see somebody get clubbed. And because like two guys will be fighting and then they'll clear the bleachers or whatever. And they'll be like, and they'll try to swing. Oregon says, I love listening to people talk about something they have a clue about. Okay, so explain to me why they can't hit each other at all when they run out. Tell me how I don't understand fighting. Explain to me exactly, Oregon. Also explain to me why it's okay to throw at somebody's head, risking damage. Also explain to me why, if pitchers are also increasing speed all the time and hurting themselves anyway, why baseball needs to have it be okay for you to get hit. Explain those three things. I'll wait. And explain it in a way that you think we don't understand. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're trying to pretend that baseball is complex, you're a fucking loser. Baseball is not complex. Baseball is amazing in some of the physicality, but it ain't complex. So if you're trying to say that we missed that, go. I'm waiting, Oregon. We'll wait.
I mean, what you described is crazy, man.
I'm still waiting for Oregon to explain himself. Go ahead, Oregon. Still waiting.
All right, Oregon.
Still waiting, Oregon. That's what I thought. Anyway.
The pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, so fucking stupid. There's always somebody who's like, it's all perfect and technical. But anyway, long story short, I'm prized at sports stars' overall sportsmanship in most sports now. It's pretty bad. I get maybe that's just a sort of a like the inability of them to perform and they get so competitive. But a true competitor, we've seen many competitors not throw ever, you know, not lose their shit. It seems like a lot of sports stars now, probably also for social media, because you're going to you're going to sort the talking you see in UFC where they say some crazy shit now. They're like WWE wrestlers. They sound like idiots. You know, it doesn't even sound like a normal person talking because it's all trying to talk up the popularity of, you know, whatever it is. Johnny says he'll be right back. He's polishing his bat.
I feel like tennis.
Oregon says, sorry, it's a smart person sport. Wouldn't expect you to get it. I don't even think baseball players consider it a smart person sport. What were you saying? Silver?
I think tennis is still pretty good on the sportsmanship part for a lot of the top players like Alcaraz.
True. I should remove. When I was bitching about the Serena thing, I was sort of laughing about how easily she was distracted. But you are right. I haven't.
Yeah, and I mean, Serena certainly. I think it's a complicated case because she certainly had instances of those kind of outbursts, including infamously the U.S. Open final where she lost her temper on the linesman referee.
The line, yeah, I saw that too,
which was really ugly. But then in other instances is a model of sportsmanship, right? So I think there's a complicated legacy there for sure. But I think with tennis in particular, we're so lucky that we've had people like Federer and Nadal sort of set the example for a lot of the athletes in that sport to really how to sort of exemplify their behavior. And I think that's modeled onto people like Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner, for sure. I mean, we still have people like Nick Kyrgios in tennis for somewhat entertainment value as well as just what the hell is he doing? But I think for the most part, sportsmanship is at a pretty good level in tennis.
And I'll out myself. When I was like 14, when I was like a little kid, super immature, I did think John McEnroe was hilarious. Just hilarious.
A lot of people did. Yeah.
And I don't remember
entertainment value there.
There was entertainment value, but I would say now if I saw that, I'd be like, dude, you're paid, blah 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 amount of money.
Yeah, you cringe more than you laugh.
You cringe and you laugh. But when you're 14 or something, this is fucking great. And I think with McEnroe, maybe even more so because it was still the old man sport too. The more traditional. Tennis is stuck to the traditional much more than many other sports, and so I think with him it was such a shock to see that everybody else is like, boof, 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 good game, and he's like, what the fuck, ref? It's just such a weird moment. But I wouldn't want everybody acting like that, right? Like, obviously,
yeah.
But yeah, dude, Federer and those guys, like, even if something bad went against them, you usually saw them handle. I love that good sportsman of like somebody. Dude, I've even loved it when somebody I watched somebody get their ass kicked that probably has never. There's been a couple worse fights, but I will say for two good fighters, one of the worst experiences I watched a fighter go through ever was when Anderson Silva beat up Forrest Griffin. And I've never seen a more one-sided fight from two people who were good. That Forrest even said he took an Ambien the day prior, and I almost believe it because I've never seen a person move like they're underwater before compared to another person. And Anderson Silva was able to pull stuff, but he was able to pull it off against fast people. This was like he was pulling it off against a person who only half their brain downloaded the update. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever seen in my life. It was like the Matrix. And people used to tease Silva for being the Matrix, but they weren't saying that fight. They were saying the fights where he was against somebody good. This was a fight where, and Forrest was good. Forrest has considered one of the best fights of all time. He was a brawler, admittedly, and Silva was technical. But it was one of the worst. If you guys get a chance, go watch this fight, because it wasn't thrown. You can tell. It wasn't thrown. But it should have been. It was so bad that I wish he had thrown it, because I don't understand. And that guy's sportsmanship was amazing. It wasn't like, oh, there was this. He did talk about Ambien later, but there wasn't this or that. He's just like, that guy's fucking really good. Like, I just couldn't figure out what to do. It was like fighting three people, out here. Like, it just didn't make sense. And it doesn't when you watch it. You're like, wow, that is. And I don't know, maybe he was sick. But I've seen people who are sick. Michael Jordan, sick, had one of the best games of his life. So it's hard to know why Forrest in particular. He did run. Yeah, Forrest did leave the ring. We see a lot of people leave the ring now. It was a little less so back then. But he did leave the ring because he was embarrassed by his performance. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with somebody being embarrassed. But I don't like it when they make excuses. It's like if you had 6 months to prepare and I had 6 months to prepare and you beat the scotch out of me, you're better. At least on that night. I love
that attitude. That attitude as well of like, listen, he was great, man. Like he kicked my ass.
You're just sitting there going like, I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure 4 people were in here. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm going to have to go watch the footage because somehow that dude split into 4 clones because he hit me in the back of the head and the front of the head. I mean, that shit. And Silva would do that against new people, but he would still get hit. This was something where Forrest couldn't even hit him, man. You need to see it. It's awesome. Damn. Soulsby, $10 super chat. Happy Friday from Cape Cod. Cape Cod? Damn. Been rehooked on God of War again lately. Where do you think we'll go next after Laufey? Oh, interesting. Thank you, by the way, for not bitching about Laufey. Because I actually thought Laufey looked good. I mean, as a different style of game. I'm not the person who gets tied. Are you okay?
I mean, the hints were for Egypt, right? In the last God of War.
In the last God of War, it was
Tia's Vault. There were definitely artifacts there from the Egyptian pantheon. So that's a potential possibility.
Can I say one thing? I hope it takes a trip.
Yeah, I would love China.
Oh, sorry. No, I meant takes a trip and isn't in the next game. Sorry. I sort of just liked Kratos doing his Kratos thing. I thought the kid stuff, the hints, too many hints, or they fix that or whatever. That's just sort of me complaining. Like I'll play whatever they do. But he was remember we were talking about Horizon Zero Dawn where Aloy's like, you're in an area for 1 second. She's like, hey, there's a ladder over here. And you're like, okay, well, I don't need to look for the ladder. There's obviously one. I think with the kid, he did that a lot in the last game to the point of being like, damn.
Actually, come to think of it, the pantheon that would be a lot more interesting is the Hindu.
Yep. Because the only game we've had even slightly touched that is Azura's Wrath, right? Azura's Wrath, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Dude,
I never played that, so I can't really speak to that. But
it wasn't even a game. It was a game, but it was definitely a weird title. It was more about almost like a QTE FMV that was a game. Actually, it was
like giants fighting each other, kind of. Yeah. Like Titans, right? From what I remember.
Yeah. Where would they go after? Yeah, I would say the Egypt. I mean, I hope they do another one, right? There hasn't been word that, like, I thought Chris Judge even hinted there is. I could be wrong on this though. Maybe Chris didn't hint that. I thought Chris hinted that like this was just the side game and that they were doing another one. Like you guys can't see him not doing another God of War for a while, right? I'm assuming. See, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Alpha is for sure a side game.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's just more like Lost Legacy and Uncharted, where it's You
Right.
explore those side characters, and Lost Legacy being my favorite Uncharted, I have no clue. Maybe Laufey will be that for me too. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. So, let's see. Most
It'd
MMA
also
fight.
be interesting to see if that game recontextualizes certain characters, like Odin or whatever. Since he's
Laufey or
hunting
another
for,
one?
you know,
Laufey.
Laufey.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. Chibim. That's probably way off. I apologize. Most MMA fighters today still accept their opponent was a better fighter after a loss. Not always. Currently, Potane is complaining about illegal strikes, but for the most part, fighters are accepting. As somebody who watches every single UFC, I would say, I don't know if I would say most, but I would say that a lot of times man, because I just watched one where the guy was like, yeah, fucking, I won that fight. I don't know. I guess most is probably fair. Most is. I think Christopher Judge's only words were indeed. I miss the days of Gracie and Frank the Tank. Oh my God. Frank Shamrock, Chuck Liddell. Well, Chuck Liddell was a little after them, overlapped with them. But yeah, the Gracie days, those were good. Do we have any other questions?
I remember when I came in as when I became a Washington Capitals fan.
Capitals?
Back in 2006, yeah, for the NHL. The team was pretty bad. It only really had Ovechkin as like the main star player on the team, but it also had Donald Brashear on the team, and Brashear was a pretty noted goon. That was his basically sole role, and he was most infamous for an incident where he had basically taken his hockey stick and whacked Marty McSorley at the back of the head with it, like a club during a game. Basically struck him down. Pretty violent act. And I was not fond of Donald. I was one of the few when I was in like message board forums and whatnot. I was one of the few who was not fond of Donald Brashear being on the team.
Yeah.
Because of the type of player he was. I didn't want those type of players on the team. That didn't really fit with the type of team I wanted to support. And he did leave like a couple of years after, and there weren't really any goons on the team up until they eventually got Tom Wilson. And I've had a very, very ambivalent relationship with Tom Wilson on that team over the years, where he's done a lot of very, very reckless stuff with his hits that has hurt a lot of people that I haven't been very happy with, or very comfortable with.
Pretty tough when you're swinging like. I mean,
all that weight around at that speed.
And we've seen people accidentally, get really bad, whether it be the skates or it be the sticks, where somebody really does get fucked. I mean, it's a stick, man. It is a weapon, and it doesn't like hockey. They do have the pads, unlike let's say baseball, where you got your little baby helmet. But
but you also have the boards.
That too. Crazy
when you
stuff
get crunched
goes on
up there.
Yeah,
that gets very, very nasty.
I've seen some stuff. And obviously you've seen way more, but
also,
like on a
also
YouTube
the ice
short.
surface when you land, when you like get a hit and you smack your head down on the ice or whatever. Also,
yeah, that would suck. I do have some questions here from. Let's see. This is Patreon and Telegram. Melissa says, do you think we'll ever reach a point where collectors start caring more about preserving download files than collecting physical copies? This popped up to this actually, especially when we have Series S, which doesn't even have physical. That was yesterday in our chat too. People were like, ISO websites, which are, mostly for what we think it is, but it's like you have the Internet Archive, you have a couple other places about saving the actual digital files themselves. I think people already worry about it. In fact, I don't know, man. There might be more people technically worried about the digital part than the physical part right now. I mean, physical's big, but there's a lot of people who just want to preserve everything. So, like that game, the person who wants to preserve a game might also be a person who wants to preserve every book. And it has nothing to do with the game and a physical copy. It has to do with just the media.
Yep.
Trevor says...
I mean,
Oh, go for it. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, I've definitely seen people who like to just have in their game library, whether it's PlayStation or wherever they play, as many games as they can. and that's kind of a point of pride, hitting certain points. Like I have 1,000 games, I have 2,000 games, and nowadays on Steam, some people have thousands of games in their accounts.
So speaking of that,
But I don't know how you feel. I don't think there's any connection to what people get from having the box, like we were saying. I think those are kind of different activities altogether, like collecting the digital side compared to like having something on a shelf that you like to look at. Those
the hope
seem
that you
kind
can
of
play it again later. But a
Yeah.
lot of these games are an executable, or all the game isn't
Yeah.
there because the Blu-ray isn't even big enough. I mean, Blu-rays are
Right.
not huge anymore. You look at Blu-ray and you're like, oh wow, look how big this is. And now you look at games like a Call of Duty and you're like, dude, I remember Baldur's Gate with its expansion was 6 discs. Not Blu-rays. This is when
Oh my
DVD was a
God.
thing, but it was 6 discs. And I got to be honest, I was actually more pissed that disc 3 stopped installing after a while. So I couldn't install the game. Back then I was
So-
wishing for digital because I couldn't play the
Is
game.
it
anymore.
like the old PlayStation titles where they stop you at some point in
Yeah.
the game and they say like insert
Yep.
next disc?
Yes. Yes.
Yep, and I tell you, there's a terror, and any old school gamer can tell you a feeling of utter dread when you put in next disc, because
What if it doesn't work?
or you watch that install and it doesn't move past 36, and you're like,
Ooh.
just I'll wait it out, and it's never getting past 36. And you're like, oh no, yeah, it happened a lot. And by the way, I think I told you this. I deleted some of our old, like, just shitty videos, like old sitting down to talk about something, I don't know, but like random videos from my channel. And I had people on the Reddit for data hoarders. And they didn't DM me. I randomly was looking for maybe the podcast or something, but I saw that somebody had said ACG deleted some stuff from his account. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? I click it, and there were people in there who were just saving every video. And they were
Wow.
mad that they were like, hey, this popped up and said that there were some missing videos because they were running a script. And I was like, dude, what? I explained it. I was like, I just cleaned the channel because those are old videos that don't do well and it can ruin your metrics now. And they got mad at me. Not they. This guy did. I tried to explain. I was like, no, it's just when you look at it, if you have 1,000 videos and some of those are really low views because they're just like an announcement video. Because we used to, I don't know if you guys remember, we used to do the announcement video prior to the podcast. Would be like, we will be live, if you have questions. They don't do a lot of views. So I was just like, yeah, I'll delete them. So there's people out there just saving everything. Just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
save the internet. Let's see.
Real quick, for the discs, we already saw with the Final Fantasy remake, you had 2 discs. You had the data disc and
And
then
the play disc.
disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also a pretty normal convention. We
Yeah,
used to
these
have that
days.
as well. Yeah. Brian
Yeah,
asks,
these days. It has been for like 10 plus years.
yeah, these days, when it's 30 years, that is still these days.
Yeah.
Brian says, what are the biggest clues that a game probably isn't as close to release as the trailer wants you to believe? CGI only? Maybe?
What
Even
was
though
the-
we've seen that.
what
Brian
was the
says,
question
what are
about?
the biggest clues that a game probably isn't as close to release as the trailer would want you to believe? And I would say,
for sure, pure CGI is one. Also, does the trailer give you any sense of the actual gameplay?
right. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't, and it's more thematic or whatever, you're like, yeah, okay, there's nothing ready for this.
Yeah,
Or-
does it just seem like it's scripted on rails through the entire thing?
Yes.
Or does it
And
seem
along
like it's
those
actually
lines-
being played?
yeah.
As well, if you have a lot of cuts where either you just see like really cut parts of the gameplay instead of flowing gameplay, it can often also
Yeah.
be a sign they are cherry picking.
This is a good one. Olivia says, what do you think? Okay, this is spelled wrong. What do you think VR still hasn't figured out? Everybody says it's a merge, but something still seems to stop it from becoming mainstream. Now, price, but ignoring the price back when you get a headset with a CPU and a GPU inside of it, or a little baby one, at least an APU with some memory. Still, I would say it's still form. Wait, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
because Quest can play its own games and still people don't play 'em. Go ahead, Silver. By all means.
Yeah, I think it's a number of challenges, right? It's logistical challenges. You have to have the room and space for it. You have to have the financial ability to get it, and you also need the technology to be able to run it properly. So you also need the PC or the console or whatever on top of that as well. So there are a lot of hurdles to overcome there. And then you have, I mean, after that, then you're faced with the visibility of VR games and being able to access them through that and knowing where to find them and whatnot.
And can we point out that any kind of splintered format like that shouldn't splinter the store, and they all have their own store, and that really doubly sucks. Like all of them have their own stores, and you're like, seriously, it's a different version for every one of them. There's no overlap. Like that can suck. Here's a good question too. Emily, another girl. If you could see one struggling studio got a massive hit over the next year, who would you pick and why? So if you could guarantee, so a smaller studio, let's say, but what? Yeah, she says one struggling studio gets a massive hit. Don't nod. That's my answer. Don't nod. I would like to see them get a massive hit so we can stop. I can don't nod. What about you guys? Is there any like smaller studio that like does maybe you really like their games but they just don't sell well?
Double Fine.
Double Fine, dude. Yeah, that's a great answer. True. Do you wonder, Double Fine, Johnny? Do you have an answer? Because I have a Double Fine question, real quick. But do you have an answer?
Especially in light of the recent rumors that Xbox is going to shut them down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What were you say, Johnny?
I don't know if it qualifies because it's maybe not struggling per se, but they are very hit or miss. Platinum Games. It's just that their hits have been massive for me. And then that's just it. Sometimes it's a bit disappointing, their output, but I would love for them to have another like Nier Automata level project.
My question was going to be, I mean, maybe this isn't a question. Maybe it's just an observation that Double Fine had a great success. It did incredibly well in Psychonauts 2, and yet we have never heard a word about Psychonauts 3. And they're very good at letting their teams do their own little stuff, which I also think is great. They had the Lightkeeper game, which I thought was cool. Keeper. They had the Kiln multiplayer game that came out recently. They love their small, like game that, in a way, it's awesome that Microsoft did buy them because Double Fine was not doing well. Like they do have issues with finances and making those, but at the same time, you can only have those kind of small incubator studios when there's a lot of money, because that's sort of, in a weird way, you're almost your patron system. It's like, well, these guys are just sort of doing their thing, and we're going to wait for that big one, but we're going to let them do these small ones. And like the people I talked to there are like, it was one of the best days to be bought by them, despite the fact that people don't like it. It's like the people there like it, so they're who I listen to. But if I was Microsoft, I would have been like, we will do it, but we really want you to also succeed on your own. So could you plan on Psychonauts 3 as well? Because Psychonauts is a pretty beloved series, and Psychonauts 2 is one of the best platformers I have ever played. That game is just phenomenal. But that's not how they do things, I guess. It just seems like that's not how they work. Or they were allowed to not work that way, maybe. And now it's like, it's not the way things are going. But goddamn, I love their games. I almost want to, I'll stick with Don't Nod because, that was my first answer, but I would say, I would agree with you.
I was disappointed with their point and click Kickstarter game, Broken Age.
Broken Age.
I thought that was ended up being a little underwhelming. But other than that, I don't think they've made, like, Tim Schafer's made a bad game ever, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I hadn't thought about that. They also had an issue. Didn't they abandon a game called Station 13 or something like that on
Yeah,
Steam?
I think so.
I think they abandoned that too. So like they haven't had a perfect history for sure. But yeah. Hopefully we get another one from them. It's like the Concrete Genie devs. I like those kind of things. And but at the same time, I don't know why anybody doesn't figure this out. Fucking business, man. It's not a charity. You got to figure out a way if you want to be an incubator company to still make games, still make cash on those, and figure out a way to like have your popular big game and then your sort of whatever it is, your little like touchy feely game. Didn't Bungie do a sailing game? A lot of these are repeats. What's the longest you've ever sat down and played a game? Yep, that's it for those questions. We got anything else?
The last one we had here, we kind of touched on, but Get Tricky is asking, what if GTA Online was able to port progress into the new version of GTA Online, similar to how Hitman World of Assassination does it?
I mean, that would be great.
That would be great.
I really wouldn't hold my breath for it, to be honest.
So what would be the biggest limitation, do you think? Like something that they can't port over? Because it can't be vehicles, right? Like all that stuff, they could just include.
Well, they can't. No, they can't. They would have to build like models for it and whatnot in the new.
Right.
Or give you approximations, I guess. My thing is what he's saying though, or sort of, which is that they want you to rebuy those. So their best bet would be to say every account that's spent this much money will get this much money in the new game. And if it's this other tier, you'll get this. And if it's this other tier, you'll get this. Plus, we'll give you like, if you have one of these cars, there's a special version of that. And only people who have this much, they'll get a special version. But you can't do a transfer because all that money, any company, by the way, again, this is just how I would work if I was running a company like that. It just, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't even system is your best bet because at some point you're going to be now paying for the servers, which are expensive, as we know with RAM. You're paying for the servers of 5 and 6. At some point, unless Rockstar just has so much money that for whatever reason they say everybody can stay in 5, which I don't think they will. You want people to move to 6. I think a grandfather system that isn't directly tied to exact items is your best bet. Money. Because then people, even though they got free money, people will be buying shit and then they'll run out of money and they'll want to buy something else. And then you've got them in your ecosystem in the new game,
That makes sense, yeah. They have the choice of what to buy.
And it's 8 years. If this was an NFL game, my answer would be completely different. NFL games shouldn't release every year. They should release a roster update for $10 and be done with it. Every 3 or 4 years, you do your full NFL new game. That kind of stuff's ridiculous. But this has been 8-9 years. Like he said, some of the models won't be the same. Some vehicles won't transfer over. Whatever. Yeah. It's like it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
There's also all the properties and whatnot. Your nightclub, your bunker, your motorcycle clubhouse, all that stuff. Your apartment, your house in the Vinewood Hills, whatever. Your yacht. I struggle to see how
stuff.
That's all gonna carry over. How that work.
Yeah, so much stuff. It's going to be fun to see, man, because like if they can make it to where people want to move, that's your best bet. So whatever 6's online is, if 6's online is just genuinely good, that's the way you get people to move. You don't worry about you still have a grandfather because you should. But if you can figure out a way to just make 6 be everything 5 was, but better, that would be amazing. I mean, that would be your best bet, is where people genuinely want to move. They're like, maybe you feel melancholy. You're like, man, I'm missing out on some of my stuff in 5. But 6 is so fun that you're like, I'm definitely jumping to 6. That'd be awesome. And anybody can do it. I don't know if they will do it, but it's like if they're able to and they make a game, make fun online, that'd be great. I also think there was some online griefing stuff. There were some complaints about some of the vehicles in online. There's cheating in online. It'll be very interesting to see how Rockstar stops that too, or tries to, because there's some cheating that is probably fine, and then others that they're like, man, we want to make sure that in the next this doesn't happen. So that'll be highly interesting to see how they handle that, and like what goes into the anti-cheat systems. Anti-cheat systems, who knows what it like? It's an online only game, so obviously that'll be it. But it's like, what other cheats? How do they stop? I don't know how people cheat in GTA, so I'm talking well out of my bailiwick. But like, you'll see people obviously hacking the game, stuff like that. So it's like, how do we stop that? Is it cheat engine? I don't know, but yeah.
Well, a lot of it is cheap engine type, like hex editors and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you stop that without then people getting mad that you're trying to protect your game? Somebody's going to get mad about it. There'll always be somebody who's like, oh my God, I can't believe this thing doesn't let me. They'll be like, I don't want to cheat. I just can't believe that they don't let us. And you're like, okay.
I mean, I think
nobody
it's fair
said that
enough for offline, like for single player stuff.
Yeah,
you should be able to.
Offline, I don't care. Like,
yep.
I mean, unless your offline is your online character, which isn't and shouldn't be.
If you want to hack your game and give yourself infinite life, infinite health or whatever,
go for
God
it.
Bless. Go do it.
Yeah, just have I mean, you bought the game, so it's like they got money. You're enjoying it in a weird way, maybe, or a way that isn't whatever. But if you're having a good time, you're having a good time. I've never really had an issue with any kind of mods, or it just doesn't. I don't think it's weird because I celebrate mods all the time, and many mods have a lot of feeling of cheatiness in them, whether it be a new ship that you can sell for $1 billion, or there's easier ways to make money that maybe the mod developer wasn't thinking of. In a way, a lot of those are cheats, or can be, what's the term, taken
exploited
advantage
or
of.
whatever.
Exploits.
Yeah. Do we have anything else? We're a little short today, but we're good to go.
One quick thing from me, I wanted to mention, I played some demos in the Steam Fest. And
go for it.
I mean, not all of them were great, by the way, but there were some that not all are bangers, right?
Yeah.
For example, this one that I tried was called Echoes of Aincrad, and it's this kind of JRPG. You're dungeon crawling and stuff. However, it's the most insultingly easy game I've played in my life.
Oh, really?
And I don't usually shit on games for being easy, but it was just like insulting. I just felt like subhuman level expectations of you as a player.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, that was crazy. Some decent production values though, but the other ones that I liked more were Over the Hill. That one is the one you're driving. It's a bit like SnowRunner, even has similar controls with the winch and everything, but more stylized graphics and stuff. Really chill, really nice. A really nice time playing that demo. That's a good recommendation. Then a couple others. Ascenders. This one is a climbing game, which usually I hate, right? But it's like turn-based. And it looks like you're playing maybe I don't know, what would I say? Like it has the kind of almost isometric view of you on the wall you're climbing, and it's turn-based. Each of your guys has a different class, so they have different actions they can perform and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit like a mini XCOM feel, but quite unique, I would say, in that. So that was really good. And then Valor Mortis is the first person. Yeah, like a Souls adjacent kind of thing so you have a pistol on one hand, sword on the other. You can parry stuff. You got a dash. You also got some magic you can do. But it's first person, which is kind of weird for these games. And it was really well done. It's maybe not like Vermintide levels of well done, but it was really well executed, which is cool to see for
set
first
in
person.
the Napoleonic Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked great. Yeah, as you say, great setting there. Unique as well. So
Was that them? Was that all of them?
yeah, those were the best ones I tried.
Those were on Steam, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all on Steam.
There's been a couple games on Steam that like I would see a trailer and find a demo. It's always nice to have a little demo if you get a chance, you know. And most
Yeah.
demos are pretty good now. Like there's rarely the demo that I'm like, okay, this was just, you know, the starting tutorial or whatever. Usually they have a tiny bit of gameplay, which is always nice. Like to see more of the demo systems. I'd like to see more of every game have a demo technically, just to make it so you could see how it runs on your system, especially for PC, where you're like you have no real clue. We have anything else before wrap it? Nothing.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it was a weirdly busy, quiet week.
It was.
What were we gonna say, Silver?
Yeah.
We could talk about some life stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
if we
for
have
sure.
time.
I have time. I
thought about the fact that we used to call ourselves the International Podcast, but we haven't really talked a lot, I think, in general about where we're from.
Oh yeah, go for it. You guys want to go first, and then I'll go. I mean, I'm America. Nobody gives a shit. I'll be right back and let the dog.
America.
I'm Danish, born and bred in Copenhagen, the capital, which is on the eastern coast of Denmark towards Sweden, on the other side of the channel. Born in 81, grew up when the city was really hard up, actually. Copenhagen was really hard up. It was on the verge of bankruptcy towards the end of the 80s. It was a really rough time in the 80s. There was a housing crisis with the youth where a lot of young people became squatters or occupiers. They used to call themselves besetters, because that's the Danish word for occupy, is to besætte. And they were basically like anarchist Antifa groups that would squat in empty barracks and army buildings and whatnot that were abandoned but weren't being used, and so they would move in because they couldn't afford housing, and they got into frequent street fights with police and whatnot at the time. And from there, the city kind of underwent a major urbanization project, and is today one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the world. Is frequently cited as being one of the best places to live in.
It's expensive too, isn't it?
It's very expensive. Yes, there's very, very, very high cost of living, but that high cost of living also corresponds with fairly high wages. So it's not quite as felt for the local population as it is for a lot of outsiders coming in, like tourists and stuff. But local people are increasingly getting pushed out of the city for housing prices and whatnot, which are continuing to climb like they are in a lot of places of the world. But it's been really interesting to see like the city grow and develop over the course of my life into what it has become today. The area I live in is a very cosmopolitan area of Copenhagen. Frankly, English is probably a more spoken language here than Danish, which is our national language, native tongue. So it's really quite strange to have witnessed that sort of transition and how that's grown to where it is now and where it will continue to develop. And one of the things that also sets Copenhagen apart really well is that there's a lot of green areas. Like only a few kilometers away from where I live, there's a major like nature preserve that I can just go into and explore. And see, and like you're never all that far away from nature in Copenhagen, regardless of where you are, of like green parks, green forests, wilderness areas, whatever, which is a huge boon to the city, in my opinion.
Do you like living there?
Yeah,
I like living there a lot. I've had the good fortune to visit a lot of cities around the world, and I think it's like, especially these days, the local infrastructure of the metro they've built, which is a independently automated metro. It doesn't use any personnel to run it, like to drive the trains, and it runs like every 5 to 10 minutes. Clockwork 24/7, pretty much. It's a solid system that they've built for sure.
What about you, Johnny? Oh, go ahead.
And,
No, continue.
and everything is like walkable. So you can.
Do you have
never...
good like bicycle lanes and stuff?
Yeah, the bicycle infrastructure I think is only second to the Netherlands, and to cities in the Netherlands. I mean, the city is pretty famous for its urban development. In fact, it's used like the urban designers of Copenhagen have lectured all over the world in how they've gone about developing the city into its boroughs and whatnot. So all of that works really well. The city has come under increasing pressure, but and accessibility, unfortunately, is for handicapped people is one of the areas where it really falters, especially compared to, say, Sweden right next door. Unfortunately, is one of the areas where we lag behind.
Interesting.
What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, my story is that I was born and bred in Brazil. It's a city in the very south called Porto Alegre. So when I was about, I want to say 12 years old, maybe, I moved to Spain. And my mom and dad and I went to Ibiza, which is this kind of really touristic island in Spain. And that's where all my teenage years and school and stuff. And then in there, I was very grateful that the first school I went to was actually a British school. So they taught you both Spanish and English. And that's where kind of I picked up a foundation for English. And I also decided I wasn't going to speak the British version, to the dismay of all my teachers. So just to tease them, I decided I would speak American. And yeah, some tough years in school there. I never really clicked too much with the culture in Spain. But then university got a lot better. I kind of found a way to be myself more. And the last year of university, I moved to the UK and I did like an exchange year where I did a master course and at the same time like finished my bachelor's. So it was an awesome combo because I got to go to the UK, which I knew I wanted to go because I loved English. I wanted to kind of lead my life speaking English and academia and work and everything. And so UK was the clear decision. And I was super lucky because they were only taking 2 people in the exchange program, but they made room for a third for me.
That's very cool.
And that's how I ended up there. Otherwise, it would have been tough to make it to the UK probably with the situation. But yeah, the way it worked out was pretty miraculous, really, because after that point it all flowed. And after I finished the master course, I got my first job interview, and that's the company I've been at for 12 years now. So it's been just, a hell of a journey. I kind of moved all over the place.
Feel for your stay in Ibiza. For Americans, like that's like the spring break location for Europeans.
Yeah, very much so.
Where's Reg from?
Austria.
Yeah. And then Abzi, Syria, and then Canada.
Just right between Germany and Italy, in the centered around the Alps there in the mountain range.
Centered enough that the time he told me he was taking a drive to the Alps, I thought he was fucking in a Forza car. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna drive the Alps." And I was like, "What the fuck? Like the movies? Like just fucking doing some corners and shit." Yeah, Pacific Northwest, Oregon. I mean, everybody probably already knows because I blather about it all the time. I don't really have anything special like you guys. You guys traveled places and went cool places. I've literally purposely not traveled. Well, I went to Hawaii. Fucking hate that. Hated Hawaii. Don't go to Hawaii. Fucking hate everything about Hawaii. I went to Hawaii. Let's see. Fucking I got no. I mean, there's nothing really special. It's like you guys didn't go
No,
to
it's not
Ibiza.
special to you because it's what you know. It's what's familiar.
Well,
to you.
yeah, but I mean, it's also Pacific Northwest. It's like, come on, it's not. It's like there's some trees here, and there's an ocean
Yeah,
that's
it's
cold.
Kaya trees, right?
Little south, but yeah. We do have. Yeah, we have a lot of different forest areas. The one nice thing is Oregon's huge. I mean, it's not Texas huge,
Yeah.
but that is the one nice thing is you can go to a swamp, then you can go to a desert, then you can go to a fucking, like Alps, not Alps, but like mountains, see snow.
Mountains, yeah.
That's always. It's probably why I don't want to move or why I'm not super. I want to go to the Grand
Right.
Canyon. I think that'd be awesome, but it's probably why I
Oh, yeah.
don't want
There's
to
so
go.
many different biomes there. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy. Like, even my parents' house is a desert. So, like, it's a desert, but it's only like 3 hours away. So I can get a lot of the stuff that maybe other people can't. Yeah, nothing. I didn't get a fucking third transfer case like Johnny, where they're like, we want Johnny in our nation. We'll let Johnny in.
Yeah.
They have the two people prior, and then somebody comes in on a red phone, and they're like, hey, hang on. Have you done that paperwork? No. Dude, Johnny wants in. And they're like, fuck, cancel it. Or you were told 3.
Fuck it.
You were told you were the third? Really? They were like, we don't want those other 2. Leave them in whatever shit nation they're in, man. We just want Johnny. That's all we care about. So this entire time you thought they were being really charitable and shit. Really, in real life, you just stole the other people's spots. No. Yeah, dude. Pacific Northwest all my life. That's it. I moved literally. How did I do this? I moved 45 miles away from where I was born, and I moved 45 miles away from where I lived for most of my life. Those are the 2 big moves. It's not much.
What's your
At least that's
favorite thing?
Yeah, dude, it's literally an upside down L. It's like I was here on the coast, where a small coast town of what we had 99 people in my senior year. Yeah, moved and then moved down. What were you asking, Johnny?
What's like your favorite thing about your city? Is there like either a spot you like to go to, or like something you guys have, or a restaurant, or like is there any one thing that you really love?
My old city, I loved. The one I lived here prior to here, Corvallis, Oregon. It's where HP was. Super high, not high standard of living, but a much cleaner city than where I am now. A lot of businesses there. It just felt more, not like Portland more, but it just felt like things were a lot less earth muffiny there. And then moving to the Eugene area was a shock. Because even the people I met here they were definitely, I'm not going to say I was, what's the term? Discriminated against, because that's not, it's nowhere near what somebody really faces. But it was definitely weird coming down here and having people like where I would say what I would eat, or I would say I did, martial arts, and I get a look like, you punch people.
Right.
And I remember one time I told somebody I was getting a pop, I was getting a Pepsi or something like that. I'm like, you drink pop? We only drink sparkling cider here. Whatever the fuck they drink.
Whole Foods, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, it's a little less now, but it's definitely like earth muffiny kind of place compared to what I was accustomed to. So there's a lot of chafing that I get, like almost politically, though it's not politics. Right. It's more just like your setup of the city. But I will say that a lot of people else who live here love it. I don't have to experience much of it. When I worked out of the house, I did, and it was fine. But Corvallis was amazing because it's only 45 minutes from the coast, and then an hour or 2 to Portland, which is a major city. And there were a lot of really cool places to go now. And when I grew up on the Pacific Northwest, there was trails everywhere. So you could jump on a 3-wheeler or a 4-wheeler if you're a safety nut, and you could drive for 13 hours and see nobody on old logging roads and just tear it up with your friends. And it was growing up in that way with my friend Brandon or Roger, whatever. We would just drive. You'd just be like, let's go camping. Where? I don't know. And you just tell your parents, we'll be back day after tomorrow. Yeah, and you just go out with a gas can on your 3-wheeler and you would just travel and you'd explore. And I think that's actually might have burned me out on exploring. I know that's not the major amount, but with hunting and all that stuff, I got to see I got to get all that sort of out, that by the time, like camping, I used to camp a lot. It's been
Oh,
years.
yeah.
And somebody was like, "Oh, do you go camping anymore?" I'm like, "No, I think I burned myself out of it. I think like I had great times, but the honest truth is 3 a.m. in the morning having to take a piss.
I've been there, done that.
I've been there,
too.
done that. Like if I went camping now and somebody said, "Well, I'll bring a trailer. I don't want to like, let's say, go in a tent." I'm like, "No, that's fine. I'll sleep in the fucking trailer. I don't need to sleep on the cold ground anymore." I used to do that, and I didn't even like it when I did it. But you're stupid, and it's more exciting now. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, man.
You did it the one time, and
I've
that was
sprayed
good.
myself with elk piss. I don't need to do it anymore. I don't need to go hunting anymore. I don't need to do those things. Yeah. That's one place or one thing I do think Oregon's awesome for is it's not the politics here are pretty easy to deal with. I don't have to deal with them much. Where you go north, you go south, you get some weird shit going on. Here it's pretty laid back. It's like, and if you do have an issue, you can move. Portland's expensive, but you can move and not see a massive increase unless you choose to do so. And a lot of people commute a long way. Because I commuted 50 minutes. One of my coworkers commuted 2.5 hours.
Distances and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's your commute, Johnny, when you go in? Like, what is it? 15 minutes?
To the office?
Yeah, to the office.
I haven't gone in years, bro. But
oh, really? Years?
Yeah.
Not even for like a team meeting? You guys just
no.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, it's all remote because my team, 2 people are in America, 2 people are in India.
Oh,
and that's
damn.
it.
Okay.
I don't have anybody local right now, so
Okay,
I don't have to go in. If I have to go, I would take a train or like the overground it's called here, and that might take me 45 minutes or something like that.
What's an overground? What is it? Is it
it's like
tram?
So we have the underground, which is your metro, just like you guys have. But then sometimes it will go above ground. So this pretty much the same trains, but they go above ground, and it's a different network. It's called overground.
Interesting. What small town? It was Toledo in Newport, Oregon. This person says they graduated in the Pacific Northwest with 35 kids in their senior year. Yeah, we had 90. We had such a small school. Like, yeah, it was inbred as shit. I mean, it wasn't because you're not having kids, but it's like, that is one nice thing, meeting new people, because like you get accustomed to the small, which is great, but everybody knows everything that's ever happened. Like you couldn't get away with shit. Somebody was going to tell somebody.
It's funny. I don't know if you're picking up any noise, but we're having a lot of kids are graduating
today.
Not today, but around this time.
But celebrate.
But today is like the real first weekend after a lot of people have graduated, and so it's a major weekend for. What's a graduation tradition here is that a class will all come together. They'll rent like a party truck, which is basically a flatbed truck.
Flatbed truck. Yep.
And then they will drive to home to every single member of the class, and they'll like drink and eat in every single location, and they'll drink and eat to and from the locations. And then you'll hit like 25, 30 locations. So you'll be drinking a fair amount, and you'll be eating a fair amount in combinations. And by the end of the trip, most people are like near comatose.
Yeah, completely. Nothing like celebrating alcohol poisoning for young people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Reading some of where people are from here real quick, because I did ask in chat as well. United Kingdom. Let's see, Canada. We got a lot of Canadians. We also have a lot of Australians. Hawaii. Pacific Northwest. Interesting. UK. Born in Syria, grew up in Romania. Now live in the United States. That sounds a little like Deaf Guy. Dude, I think the farthest. I'm trying to think of the farthest away like fan that I've ever got. I mean, I know we were number one. Remember when we were back in the day? I don't even know how to find it, but we were number one in Romania.
There was an American who had been a teacher on one of the Pacific Islands.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't remember that.
Oh, wow.
We do have a lot of.
We had.
Good.
We had someone from South Africa, Chris Face.
Chris Face is from South Africa. Yeah. Medford, Oregon,
Great
Boston, Europe, California, Ocean Shores, Washington, Tampa, Florida. Listen to this, man. This is why I love whatever fans, but this was particularly in the Patreon because it's always like once somebody interests me, they do something different. I'm like, dude, let's sit for 8 hours so I can just ask you questions. We had the chef who worked on the oil rig. That fucking was awesome. We talked to him for like 6 hours. What it was like being an oil, but we have a lot of chefs. We've had at least 5, and they're not small chefs. We had chefs who were like, running restaurants and I don't know what the hell we were talking about. Maybe it was because we were international, but for some reason, a lot of chefs joined. And then we had the truck drivers from Australia. We had a shit ton of truck drivers from Australia. I don't know. Maybe they don't get much entertainment, and they were like, dude, at least these guys cuss a lot. You should listen to ACG. I have no clue, but we had a bunch of those guys come in. It was so great to talk to them and like find out, just what it's like being a truck driver. We've had a lot of truck drivers. Montana, Kentucky, Netherlands. But what I was going to say was I don't look at them anymore. But in the old days when I would look at like, especially when we first started the podcast, like your regions where you're listened to. I remember Romania we were number 1 in Romania, number 1 in Turkey a couple times. And I was like, what the ever possesses, like it could have been 3 people, right? Like there's another Romania. Right, so I don't know, maybe, but for whatever reason, it was great. It was like, I was just absolutely not expecting that for like people. And I would always tease Dev guy saying he told his 3 other friends, he told his 3 friends in Romania and instantly number 1. And I told him, I always believed he listened to us via stalker style radio on a burning like oil can.
Yeah.
Where it's like out there and they've tuned it to ACG somehow and they're sitting there with their guns. I don't know why. That's honestly what my brain was telling me. Montreal, Zeta? I don't even know how to pronounce that. Damn, I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Do you guys have horses in Oregon? It's maybe a stupid question.
Do you mean wild horses?
Yeah, did you grow up like around horses in any way, or like riding horses?
Our family, one of the long litany of ex-fiancés, she had horses. There was. Okay. I wasn't married 5 times, no matter what that one guy who hates me was saying on Reddit. But almost everybody. My mom's got horses now in Bend, but she didn't have them. She had one when we had donkeys too. Mean little sons of bitches. And they're mean, man, just mean. Like, I think I don't love horses because of that. My brother loves horses. He has them. All my family members, as they've gotten older, have tried to find a horse. They trade horse, or sometimes they'll gift a horse. If they get a horse, they'll gift it to another family member so they can all have a horse. But yeah, we had small, I think there's a very, very small, it wouldn't be huge at all, native, but I would assume they ran away. And that's how they became native. Like somebody lost a horse in the woods. And they found the only other horse in the woods, and they have a couple horses. Like that's most of ours are elk, and the deer style stuff that we have here in Oregon. A lot of wildcats.
I had a paternal aunt who had horses. Had a lot of horses from what I remember. I just remember one of the scarring experiences of my childhood being riding a horse that started like trotting and then in my mind it started galloping at like breakneck speed, but I don't know, that's what it felt like. And it was just so completely terrifying that it scarred me for like for a whole time.
Yeah.
And then horses, I had to get off it.
Yeah, horses aren't. We rented horses in Salem, Oregon for families to ride, and my horse had been pinched by the saddle and I didn't know. And so it reared its head down, which prompted me to fall off the front of the horse down a cliff, got back on it, and then we turned home. And she's like, sometimes this horse likes to go home. And so you have to really control it. And I was like, yeah, I got this. I was only like 13, but I was like, yeah, I got this. And that fucking horse booked across a 4-lane fucking intersection just because it was like forest, but there were roads and everything nearby it. I'm not a big fan of riding them, to be honest. I'm like, all my family are, but I'm like you. If that thing's galloping, that thing's at a sprint. It can barely move, and I'm like, way too fast.
Yeah.
I don't trust my life to another creature. I'll trust it to a machine. I'll be like, I'm on this 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler motorbike, no issues. Car, no issues. But something about a wild animal, no, not wild, but an animal, I'm like, nah, dude, because I don't want to have to negotiate death with an animal. If I fuck up and die, that's on me. But if the horse decides it's going to buck me off or whatever, and I've seen some of my friends break I saw a friend break a leg, break arms on horses, and I'm like, yeah, that's I don't trust those bastards. And I got bit by a lot of horses, man. Horses,
Damn.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, horses, they'll just, you do something wrong, and they're
They can get
not
on
always
you.
trying to hurt you. Sometimes they're just really trying to get your attention. But a horse bite is like two bony forearms pinching your skin. They're fucking massive mouths, man, and they're not sharp. It hurts. It's like and you're fucking blood blister. Memphis, Tennessee, Turkey won the soccer game. I'm from Alaska, Sao Paulo, Turkey,
Wow.
another Turkey, two Turkey, three Turkeys, Montreal. Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, I read that. Most U.S. communities have horse farms. Yeah, I mean, most places have horse farms, but they're not wild horses. Thank God. I mean,
Dude, Alaska is crazy.
Alaska is great. Alaska would be a place I would want to go. I don't know why. I just sort of like the idea of going there. I
mean, they're very romantic. It certainly has a very romantic, idealized sort of nature image, for sure.
It might be like the camping. Like you go there once and then you're good.
Oh, bro, I don't know about you guys too, about vacations. I don't think so. Because you guys, when I talk to at least Silver, he's taking long vacations. I'm also the 3 vacation guy. 3 days, max. Any place I go, if it's longer than 3 days, I'm bored and I want to come home. So, like, no matter where we go, if we do go somewhere, I'm not, some of these guys like Reg will be like, yeah, we're going to Japan for 2 weeks. Fuck that. By the second night, I would be like, no.
Yeah, we're done.
We are done. I have seen Japan. And they'll be like, no, you haven't. I'll be like, no, I've seen it all. I've watched enough TV combined with the 2 days of being here, eating their fucking small servings. I'm headed home. And in fact, I think I traveled through Reg and through my friend
burgers,
Andy.
man.
A couple people
Depressing.
telling me, yeah, Reg defeated a lot of people's desires for Japan when he came in when he was first talking, when he came back. And you know me, I'm always trying to find the funny story, the weird story. So we sat and chat, and there were a bunch of people who wanted to go to Japan and chat. And I'm pretty sure by the time we were done, most were like, that ain't for me. I'm okay. I think moldy
ramen
muffins went
seems
to Japan.
all right, but
Ramen seems all right. But the
Yeah.
little baby beds and shit, like he was telling me about, I was like, nah,
Oof.
man. That I grew up in a single bed till I was 18. I don't need to return to it. Thank you.
no.
I think Moldy went to Japan. In fact, it was Moldy, right? Was it baseball gear? No, it was Moldy and his girlfriend got back from Japan about 2 months ago. And he also had some of those eye-opening stories that you don't see, on a travel channel. And I was just like, that's very interesting. Good stories, though. Very good stories. It was just not a place I want to go to. Alaska's a great place for vampires, apparently. Yeah, that is a good movie. I know exactly what you're talking about. Where's Reg from? He's Austria.
Only half the year, though.
Yeah, only half the year. The other half of the year is really good for day walkers, apparently.
Yeah.
Alaska's sort of dirty, too, industrial in a lot of their cities. When I say Alaska, I don't mean like, Anchorage or something like that. I would want to go,
Yeah.
want to go out and I'd probably die, but I would love
It is
to go
bizarre, though, polar nights. Have you ever experienced it?
I have not. No. I've seen videos, but like I said, Hawaii doesn't have polar nights. It's the only place I've gone to.
I had it when I was a kid. My father lived up in Norway, up north of the polar Arctic Circle. And I went up there, and it was like 3 a.m. and it was like sun
Bright
is out.
daylight.
Like it's 12 a.m.
Dude, and I have a hard enough time sleeping. I have a feeling I would die. I would just never go to sleep. I'm sure everybody has blackout blinds or has a way to sleep, but at least it's cooler there. I could basically open up a window because I hate heat. That's like, that Alaska would be somewhere. Alaska and the Grand Canyon.
I do have some other amazing memories from that, though, because we were up camping in the mountains, actually. I think it would have been 11 or so, 10, 11. And there was a huge mountain lake, and the water was like so pristine that you could just like take a cup of water and just drink it.
And without having to worry. Was it tents or campers? How'd you guys camp? Or was it cabins?
I think it was a camper with like an anti-haul tent. Or like a lobby tent or whatever. Like a small tent in front of the camper.
In front of the camper, yeah. So, dude, speaking of campers like that, we had a tent trailer until I graduated. Those are the ones that are the box, and then you get it to the place and use a ratchet, and you open it, and it turns into a massive tent, like on top of the. So you still have an oven and all that stuff, but it ships. It's only like 4 foot tall, and it's like a big square. You tow it somewhere, and then you undo it, and it turns. And I love that fucking thing. Those were awesome. Tent camping is cool for like one day, maybe one.
Yeah, I mean,
Alaska also has a lot of-
I go with Lemon Streak sometimes, just in the woods for like a weekend, that's Saturday to Sunday.
Do you guys do cabins there or still?
No. We use a tent. We just pitch a tent out in the forest.
Okay, so do you bring a pad or do you sleep on the sleeping bag? Just the sleeping
I
bag.
have an air mattress
Smart move.
and my sleeping bag.
Yeah, smart move. Air mattress or some kind of pad, man, because no matter what, I always tell people, I'm like, you don't understand it. I'll find a flat spot, and I'm like, you won't. There'll be a root. There'll be something that wakes you up at 2 a.m. with a fucking cramp if you do not bring a mat. I used to sleep without them all the time, and then one day I was like, what am I doing? And like, the single rock that got under somebody's shoe and you happen to sleep on it. I'm from the largest.
Because we're only out for like the one day or whatever.
That wouldn't be so bad
light.
anyway. Yeah. Don't even have to worry too much about a ton of food either. Camping out here is fantastic. Anything you want to do outdoors is great. Alaska also houses a lot of ancient zombie
like
viruses.
Disposable grill.
Propane or charcoal?
Like a one-use charcoal grill, disposable.
That's a good. That's cool.
And then we just throw it out afterwards.
Oh, I didn't even know they made those.
Put it in a bag.
I just recently, luckily we had it during the freeze here, but we've never done propane ever. We always did charcoal, and I bought a little propane cooker, and I was like, damn, that thing, I was missing out. Because, like, I mean, I have nothing against charcoal, but you have to wait a while and stuff like that. It was nice to just be like,
yeah, I will say it does. I think it does add to the flavor, the charcoal.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. In fact, propane, maybe it's psychological, but even if I let it burn for a while, there's something about the taste on something. I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that. Lots of camping opportunities here in BC, but I'd rather sleep in the vehicle. Yeah, I've slept in quite a few vehicles, man. Not comfortable. A chair is comfortable to sit in and go somewhere, but boy, a couple times I slept inside of a vehicle. I was like, this is...
Yeah, no.
It is hard to be comfortable in those. A few of my friends have the double-decker or the double extended truck with the doors on the back. You put the seats down, you try to sleep on it. It's okay, but they also get cold as shit, man. Like, it doesn't take very long before that fucking car gets freezing cold, and I'll start it in the middle of the night, warm up the car, turn it off, 2 hours later, start it. Do we have anything else? We went longer than I thought.
That's it.
No, that's it.
That is it for us. Thank you, everybody, for saying where you're from and what you do when you're there, if you do anything other than games. That'll be it for us. Next week, there's a preview coming. This week, if you missed it, I did a preview, and you probably did because nobody cared for any. I looked at other people's videos for this game. No one was watching these previews, but I did a preview for Resonance, A Plague Tale. And got to play that for a little while, but and it was fun. It was a better combat than I thought by a massive amount.
For sure.
So I'm just a little nervous that it's gonna get lost, man. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, so far, it was just the demo, but anyway. And next week, like I said, you'll see a couple from me as well. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you have a good one, and be safe.
Bye-bye.
Throw a ball at somebody's head.